All right, you're watching live from Irwin Lee Field in Geronimo, Texas, where tonight your Navarro Panthers will take on the Jarrell Cougars in this district rival game. Stay tuned for Navarro Panther football on the Navarro Panther pregame show. You're watching Panther football on Navarro Panther Network. All right, we're back here at Irwin Lee Field in good old Geronimo, Texas. My name is Hank Dietert. I am being joined by Jason Orts, who was an editor for the Seguin Gazette at one time. Jason, glad to have you tonight.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me here tonight. It's been a while since I've been back down in this area. I was a sports editor of the Seguin Gazette Enterprise from 2004 to 2007. So hard to believe that's been 20 years since I've started that job, but I think that just means I'm getting old, but that's okay. Probably, it's been a long time since I've been down here, like I said, but, it's always good to be back and to kind of see how some of the teams from where I really got my career started are doing. And, unfortunately, so far it's a 1-5 start, like you said, for the Navarro Panthers this season. But, still plenty of time to turn it around. It's only midway through the season, a few games left here, and, kind of a soft part of the schedule coming up after tonight, against the good Jarrell team.
Yeah, but Jarrell, coming in now, they've changed their whole philosophy. They have gone to the slot T, and I've still seen them run a little bit of spread still, but they are primarily now back to the old slot T that the Panthers are used to doing since 2007. So we're going to see a lot of rushing today, and that clock's probably going to tick, tick, tick pretty quick. And we want, I know that with the Panthers last week coming up short against Salado and by a touchdown after coming back and making it a really good game, and just came up a little bit short at the end for the Panthers against Salado. Now now the Navarro Panthers are kind of up against the wall because, there is 7 teams in the district, and there's only 4 available, options to go in for the playoffs, and Navarro's got to be able to make one of those top 4 teams, and they can do it, but they're going to have to almost win out. Not necessarily. They can win 3 of the next 4, I think, and still make it, but it's going to be one of those. It should start tonight.
It really should. And, Jarrell is a team that, like you said, they come in 5-1. They're 2-0 in district, so the record says that they're a really good team coming in here. It's a little bit of a mirage in some ways, though, because some of the wins that they've had, 20-14 over Giddings, a very close game, 21-14 against Marble Falls, 30-26 against Caldwell, very close games. They did lose the game to Llano, 21-14. They have had some comfortable wins in district, though, 35-14 over Smithville, 35-16 over Lago Vista. So, like you said, they're running a new offense this year. They're probably getting more comfortable with what they're doing. And the biggest thing is when they run these things, when they run multiple offenses like they are with the slot T and the spread, it gives a lot of things that you have to look at and prepare for as a defense doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So I know the Navarro coaches were burning the midnight oil, as they say, trying to figure out exactly what they need to do to slow this Jarrell Cougars team down.
Well, we'll look at, as there's a big check being introduced or, submitted to the Navarro Independent School District from the Navarro Panther Posse. Let's take that back off there. And so the Navarro Panther Posse is donating an amount of what looks to be on that check, $100,000.
That's awesome.
And thank you, Panther Posse, as they're donating this to the school. A lot of the coaches, teachers, and stuff put in wish list, and so that's what this money, goes for. So I'm going to go back to the Panther offense now, and I'll pull it up on the screen here. And the Panther offense with Brighton Camp, Pugh, Hyman, Carlisle, Black, Beltron, and Galini. When we in the slot T, you look at the wide receiver being basically he's just about 2 or 3 yards out. That's all from the regular line, but that's pretty much your line when you look at those guys. But they've been able to crank out, a total of 1,400 yards, over 1,400 yards, this season, and that's where I think the Panthers still, that's their bread and butter, because when we look at the passing, the Panthers have a total of 327 yards for the season in passing, and now you're over 1,700 yards, but you're in 6 games, and so you're hoping that the Panthers can take and go back to their bread and butter and use that really pounding style of slot T that is there against this Jarrell defense and go right at them. So I don't know what your thoughts are on the Navarro Panther offense.
Well, I just think, looking at it, obviously looking at the numbers, a lot of balance as far as who's gotten the ball and who's gotten the yards. Obviously, Cohen Blunt is definitely the go-to guy, 574 yards on 110 carries with 9 touchdowns. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. But the good thing about it is when you have several other guys who you can rely on, like a Peyton Helford, running the ball as the quarterback, that adds another dimension with 306 yards and 3 touchdowns for him. Dylan, I believe that's Dylan Trotty with 50 carries for 264 yards and a touchdown. Mason Harvey's over 100 yards for the season with 34 carries. He's got a touchdown. So they have a lot of options in the backfield. They're not going to throw the ball very much. We know that. That's what the slot T is all about. It's about keeping the ball on the ground, grinding it out, trying to keep, put long drives together, keep the defense on the field, control the clock, control the tempo of the game. That's what they've done for so long. That's allowed them to be so successful around here for so long. If they do get forced in positions where they're having to throw the ball, it could be a long night for the Panthers.
Yeah, and the Cougars, it's going to be a cat fight tonight between the Cougars. The Cougars, as what we had seen, what Scott Kibbe had put in the Seguin Gazette in his preview, where last week Hobbs, their big fullback, he gets over 379 yards against Lago Vista in their big win, 35-16, and he had runs of 75, 74, 64, and 40 yards. So Hobbs is going to be the key for the Navarro Panther defense, and I'll bring up that defense up there. Now, this is the defense that you see for the Panthers, that there is a few little changes that you see. They're bringing in Xander Barnes now as a linebacker, and you see Colt Brown that is playing free safety back there as well as risky. So you have a little bit of a difference in the backfield of the Panthers defense, and that the front line of the Panthers, we've seen Ian Garcia make some huge plays in the backfield. He's done a lot of TFLs, as we'd like to say, yeah. And so we'd like to continue to see that. But where the Panthers have been hurt is once that contact is made, that back has been able to bounce off, yards after contact, not yards after catch, but those yak yards have really hurt the Panthers this year on defense.
Well, and that's going to be a big key tonight, obviously, with, we talk about, Cohen Blunt being the focal point for the Navarro offense. I mean, obviously, that's a huge game, like you said, from the running back for Jarrell last week. So, it's going to be – tackling is going to be at a premium tonight. And I always like to joke when you have two teams that like to run the ball the way that these two do, all you have to do to figure out who's winning the game is just look at the line of scrimmage. The team that's going backwards is the one that's not winning. Right. They're the ones that are not getting off the ball. They're the ones that are getting blown backwards. And, I think it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be an intense game. Navarro really needs this game to try to stay in the playoff race. Jarrell has a lot of motivation from the blowout that they suffered against Navarro last year. So they want to come in here and prove something themselves, as well as getting to 3-0 and remaining at the top of the district.
Yeah, I think that, the Panthers have a perfect opportunity tonight, being at home, playing against a slot T team. And we've seen Navarro play a lot of other slot T teams and do very well in the past. All the way from 2007 on, we've seen them do very well. So we're about to bring in Scott Kibbe. And you know Scott Kibbe because you had worked with him or, dealt with Scott Kibbe as well and he's been around like forever. So, 33 years now or something like that. Yeah. So, Scott, thanks for joining us. So
the preeminent historian of Navarro High School football.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
He is. And I like to say that I've been to a lot of games, for Navarro, but not as many as this guy. Even since I graduated back in '83, I have not seen as many games as this guy, I don't think. So, but Scott, now you come in here and you always give us that fun fact, that we like to hear. So, what fun fact do you have for us tonight that will make this interesting for everybody to know?
Well, I mean, it's been a rough go for the Panthers this season, but I have 3 rays of hope for Panther fans coming into this game. Number one, they're 1-5 for the first time since 2004. In 2004, when they were 1-5, they ended up getting hot late in the season, making the playoffs, getting to the second round. So pretty good season. Number two is I think you mentioned they're very good against slot T. I only have one time, 2011, that they lost to another slot T team. That was Liberty Hill, which is pretty good at it.
Right.
But they've not lost to a team that's had less time in the slot T than they have to this point.
Yeah, I mean, slot that. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I didn't even know you were going to have that. Bring that up, but I know that over the years, from we have seen, we have seen this team play. Rockport, Fulton. That was running the slot T. We've seen them play even Canyon Lake in the past. That ran the slot T, and we did a decent against them at that time.
My best guess, I can't say because I haven't reported, but from memory, is things about 7-1.
Yeah.
Since
that Liberty Hill is.
Yeah, but beat Liberty Hill the year before.
Right, the year before, but then lose to them that once. Yeah.
And I always remember tell that story about when we played Canyon Lake in 2013. They had just gone to the slot T. Navarro beat them 62-0. Not expecting that to happen tonight, but beat them 62-0 last game of the season. Talking to one of the Navarro defenders and him saying it was like watching our offense in slow motion.
Yeah.
Because it really is the time you put it on this and the time you see it, and hopefully it'll work to the Panthers' advantage.
And I think when we played Marble Falls, that's exactly what the coach said at that time was like, for us, it's like watching us. It's like us. We're in slow motion compared to what the Panthers are doing. So that's a good look at it, way to look at it. So also, I always ask Scott too, Jason. I ask Scott a lot of times what are your predictions for this game? I mean, like what do you think we're going to see tonight between the Panthers and the Cougars?
I think you're looking at the Panther team's really their back is to the wall. They've been playing hard. Expect that to continue. It's been little things. It's been just very small things that have kept them from being able to do anything. So I would expect to come out and attack. I think a little more passing. I think they're really trying to work some more guys into that game. And I would think probably a better look from their defense.
Yeah.
They looked better last week, and now they're seeing an offense that they're familiar with. Maybe a little better performance from the defense they've had before. They got their hands full.
Right.
They've got a guy who ran for 379 last week.
Yeah, we just mentioned that earlier. 75 yards, 74, 40 yard. I mean, big runs by the fullback Hobbs. So we're going to have to be watching number 6 as wherever he goes. The Panthers need to be aware.
No doubt, but also would bring out, they gave up, Lago Vista had a rusher with 227 last week. So they've given up some yards too.
Now, I saw some film too. Did they also run the spread at times? I don't know if that was old film or that was something we saw this year, but I don't know if they went into a spread formation at one time or two just to give a different look,
I haven't noticed. I didn't notice that was in there. I know they've been able to hit some deep passes. They don't pass much, but they've been able to get some guys open.
Yeah, and that's what you usually see when you're talking about a slot T team. So, Jason, any thoughts on what Scott had to say?
I mean, that's typical Kibbe right there. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's the only person I know that would be able to tell you that they haven't lost to a slot T team since 2011. So I think that's a pretty good fun fact. But no, I mean, like Scott talked about there, when you're familiar with an offense and you see it in practice every week, it is easier to prepare for.
Right.
But it all comes down to, like you talked about earlier, can they tackle? They're going to have to be able to get Hobbs on the ground. And then, because Hobbs is is going to have every eyeball on him, there's going to be he's the kind of guy that opens up a lot of options for other players as well. So it's going to be a challenge, but I mean, Navarro does have a bit of a mental advantage coming in off of 2 blowout wins in the past couple of years against Jarrell. So, like I said, Jarrell's going to come in here with a lot of motivation. Navarro obviously has a lot of motivation to try to stay in the playoff race. I think it's going to be an intense game. I think it's going to be a physical game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I haven't seen either of these teams play this year, but I just have this weird feeling it's going to go right down to the wire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Scott, thank you for the information. We're going to let you go, but tell the people how they can get in contact with you, or when they can see your previews and your reviews as well.
Just go to SeguinGazette.com. Sunday's edition will have the story from this game, and Wednesday's edition will preview next week's.
All right. Again, thank you, Scott, for all that great information.
All right. Okay.
Okay, well, we're about ready to go ahead into an interview I did earlier with Coach Blunt. And so Coach Blunt will tell you a little about what he expects in this game and what his keys are going to be. So we'll go ahead and get ready to roll that tape, because you're watching Navarro Panther football on the Navarro Panther Network. Good evening. This is Hank Dietert for the Navarro Panther Network, down on the field with Coach Rod Blunt, the head coach of your Navarro Panthers. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate you having us.
All right, Coach, tough loss last week against Salado. Put up a good fight and was right there to the end. So what are your thoughts that you take away from that game?
That the kids are giving us everything they have. They're fighting to the bitter end. They're listening and making adjustments, and continue to fight, and we're going to continue to do that, and we're going to find a way to get rolling.
All right, Coach, now you face Jarrell, who's coming in 2-0 in district and 5-1 overall. And they're part of that slot T mafia now, I guess, a little bit. I know that they may run a few other things, but mostly the slot T. So for your defense, how do you adjust to – and I know they have wrinkles. Every slot team has a little bit of wrinkles. So your defense, what do they need to do, and what are some of your adjustments going against another slot T team?
Well, sometimes it benefits us because the guys on defense get to see it a lot in practice, get to run against it a lot in scout team, but you also don't want to do too great of a job against it and give other people ideas. But we got to play great defense, and we got to take care of our responsibility and not try to do somebody else's, not start looking in the backfield, but take care of what we do. They got a big play threat at fullback, breaks a lot of long runs. We cannot let him get started tonight. We got to get on him quick and get him down before he gets running.
All right, Coach, thank you for that. Now, on offense, again, they're going to be ready for the slot T because they run against it every day, as far as their scout teams and their scout defenses. So now what do you have to do on your offense? Do you have to put in a couple wrinkles or not?
Yes, sir. You got to put in a little bit and be ready for anything like each week. But, they know a little bit more of the detail that goes into it than people who don't run it. So you got to have something to adjust to kick back on. Well, if they're going to do this, then this is how we counter it a little bit more than we do each week. So we got a few things up our sleeves and a few ways to attack different sides, and we'll see what they do and adjust as the game goes.
Okay, Coach, thank you for that. Now, special teams, what have you seen from Jarrell on special teams that you have to be concerned about?
Same thing with their back. They got a lot of speed. We got to make sure we cover kickoff, punt team, make sure we get down there and not let those guys get running. And when it's our turn to get the ball, we got to make something happen, take advantage of it, make sure we have our blocking set up good, blocking up high and in front, and try to break one.
All right, Coach, thank you for that again. And now what I'd like to hear from you is your 3 keys that you think you can get to be on the victorious side of this game.
Especially in slot T games, but always it's controlling the line of scrimmage. We got to be big in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Second thing, or the most important thing, is limit number 6. Know where he is every time. They're going to move him around to different spots to get him the ball. We got to know where he is, and we got to get on him quick and win the kicking game. It's going to be a close ball game, and we got to get a break in the special teams.
All right, Coach, thank you for that, and good luck tonight.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we'll be back for the pregame show here on the Navarro Panther Network. This is Hank Dietert signing off. Welcome back, folks. We're back here in Geronimo, Texas at Irwin Lee Field, where the Panthers are taking on the Cougars here. And we have all these cheerleaders down. You see the big cheerleaders are out there, and Dan's team Dazzlers are all out there for the tunnel. But we will show you some shots of the little cheer night that they're having down by the track. We'll get to see it, take a look at them in just a little bit, as both teams are going to get ready to come out here So now I'd like to talk before we go into the other part, before we get to the national anthem. I'd like to go ahead and jump ahead a little bit here, and I'm going to put up my keys to victory for our Navarro Panthers. Okay. So I believe that for the Panthers, they have to win on every down on offense, specifically offense, because they've got to get 3.5 yards, and then they have to play assignment defense. You touched on that already. Because you can't just catch your eyes can't be in the backfield, wandering around with the slot T. You have to play assignment football, and then be mentally and physically tough. I think that this team is lacking just a little bit with that. They need to get a little tougher mentally and physically. I'm going to step out here when we get ready to kick off, and I have a little saying that, and I'll talk about that at a later time. But I've yelled it out before every game because I really feel like, you have to be physical. So, and that's part of football. I mean, it's controlled aggression. So now I know that I didn't go over it specifically with you because we just got you on board. But what are your keys to the game for the Panthers to be victorious?
I think you touched on it a little bit there. Just the assignment defense. It's knowing where the ball is going to go. And the hard thing about going against some of the best play callers in the slot T is that they know that you've had it drilled into your head all week. Read your keys. Well, the best play callers in slot T football, they'll give you false keys.
Right.
They will run a blocking scheme. They'll do something that tells you it's going this way. Next thing you know, it's a misdirection play. Somebody's coming out the back door with the ball on the other side. So you've got to watch out for that as well. And you also touched on it earlier, just tackling.
Yeah.
If the first guy to make contact, he's got to be able to get the running back, especially Hobbs, to the ground. He's so good at breaking those long runs, partially because the offensive linemen are obviously staying on their blocks. They're doing their job, but he's also hitting that hole and probably breaking some tackles on the way as well. So you've got to find a way to get him on the ground. And if it's supposed to be a 2-yard gain, it needs to be a 2-yard gain. If it's supposed to be a 5-yard gain, it needs to be a 5-yard gain. It can't go from him being met in the hole for something that could be no gain, breaking a tackle and taking it the distance.
Yeah, so I would agree with you totally, Jason. So, tonight we're probably going to see two teams using, as much deception as we ever. We'll probably see our student camera operators of the Navarro Broadcast Club here as it's sometimes it tricks me too with my eye, and I've been watching it for years, but the camera person would be looking at one, and it's like, oh, it doesn't have the ball, and they have to go and catch up with the ball. So, I mean, you'll see that a lot with slot T teams. We see it all the time. And, with both of these teams running a slot T, it's going to be interesting to see, how this is going to play out. And I think it is an advantage for the Panthers to play another slot T team because they've been doing this since they were in 7th grade for a lot of them. And so even though the Panthers only have 2 returning starters, for this year, there's a lot of inexperience, but they've already played 6 games, so they've got experience now. Now they got to start using that experience to their advantage.
Yeah, they're inexperienced at this level, but they are experienced in the offense. And I think that's the biggest thing. When it gets late into the season, they've been running this thing for not only 5 years, or not only 6 weeks, they've been running it for 5 years and 6 weeks, So, like you said, Jarrell's new to it. They might break out into some spread. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, if they still have that in their back pocket, because, if Navarro is really on what they're doing and prepared for it, because they are a slot T team that's been doing it for a long time, they might need to change it up and see if they can hit a couple over the top, or maybe hit a spread or hit a screen on the outside that, they're able to take the distance, or, hit a big play on that way. So, and like you said, we might see some more passing from Navarro tonight as well. They might open it up a little bit. It's all going to be dictated by exactly what's going on in those trenches.
That's right.
The offensive and defensive lines are going to be huge in this game. The linebackers being able to fill the gaps, and again, be disciplined with their run fills. And then obviously, if they do drop back to pass, find a way to get to the quarterback, but be disciplined and not let that quarterback break out.
All good points, Jason. But I hope to hear a lot of this tonight. I know you've got Cougars and the Panthers out here, big cat fight tonight, and but I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited about this game, and I have been ever since we've seen Jarrell do really well, because, you know, the old Jarrell, I'd say the old Jarrell, but last 2 years, you know, they weren't doing very well, and they weren't much of a threat. This year, they're definitely a threat, coming in 2-0 in district. And the Panthers are, you know, their backs are against the wall. They have to win at least 3 out of the next 4 games, and you need to win this one, because you definitely don't want to go, you know, 3 straight and have to try to win 3 straight.
No, you don't. But, you know, Navarro really started off, I think, with the toughest 2 teams in the district.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Salato's obviously a very good football team, an explosive offense. Wimberley, we know the tradition that is there with the Wimberley Texans. So, you know, I think the schedule does get easier after tonight. This one could be a big swing game for them, because if they can get past this one, then, you know, they got a real – then I think that you wouldn't pencil them in necessarily yet, but it'd be a big step forward to making that playoffs.
Yeah, confidence is going to be a big deal for us. So, you know, for the Panthers, you get this one under your belt, that confidence level is going to rise. So, well, we're getting ready here. They're going to be getting the teams out here shortly, and they're going to be going over we'll have to be doing the national anthem and all. But, you know, some of the things that we had talked about in the past here for Navarro is the community here is just so behind this football team. I mean, it's any small community, you pretty much see that here in Texas behind it. And it's just been amazing support for the Navarro Panthers. But I always tell people, this is not about just the football team that's out here. You've had the band, you've got the Dazzlers, you know, now you got the little cheerleaders, and I mean, you got all these things going on. I mean, what a community event this is, and it's to celebrate the community, not just to celebrate the guys on the field, but the whole community.
Well, the pageantry of
here comes the
football,
Panthers.
Friday night football in Texas is undefeated. I mean, just, you know, like you said, all the things that are going on. You know, I see driving in, there's a new school going up. There's a $100,000 check being given out. You know, like you said, all the community events that have been going on, or all the, you know, the ways that the community gets together to support the team. I mean, there's nothing quite like small town high school football in Texas.
Oh, you got that right. That's definitely for sure. So we look as the Panthers come out. Jarrell's getting ready they're warming up, and they'll get ready to come out as well. And we'll get this thing started pretty quick, Jason. So any final thoughts on anything that we didn't touch on, or you want to revisit?
Yeah, one thing we haven't touched on at all tonight is, you know, if it does come down to a close game like I expect it to, is the kicking game. We haven't talked about that at all. You know, I think that it can always be a big a big turning point in a game if you get a big kickoff return or a block punt or something of that nature, or if you make a kick or two. You know, at this level, you never know exactly what kind of kicker you're going to have. So, you know, I think the kicking game could be a big key in this game as well.
Even though we haven't seen a lot of, you know, Carlos Soto, he's a kicker. He kicked, his longest field goal was 34 yards in the Divine scrimmage, but he made it with plenty of distance. So we could see Carlos Soto being the kicker, you know, at a crucial moment. He could make, you know, a field goal that if you get to the 20-yard line, he should be able to knock that thing in. So,
yeah, and that's a big weapon.
Through the goal.
That's a big weapon at this level, because not everybody has that ability to even make, you know, a 25, 30-yard or an extra point can be an adventure.
Right.
So, so I think
We've seen that before.
It's a big deal to have, you know, the ability to score when you can't get it into the end zone.
Yeah, well, we'll get ready for our national anthem, and here as the teams will line up. They're going to go with the captains first, and so with the captains that we see from Jarrell have Dylan Lester, senior, and they have number 3, J.J. Fitch, as one of the captains. And I'm sorry, that's number 2, Nico Rodriguez, the senior. And number 22 as well is Braden Morlock. And then I believe that is number 9, Ross Verbal. And then for the Panthers, they have Cohen Blunt and Mr. Galini, number 22, Braddock Galini. And then you have Craig Hyman as another senior, and number 52, Cade Pugh, as your captains for the Navarro Panthers. And that's actually number 23 for the, so I'll check that. And it's Hayden Dotson. That would be the captain for Jarrell Cougars. So we'll hear the Panthers yell out here in just a moment.
Number 22, Brady Galini. Number 52, Kay Pugh, and number 55.
The toss is up, and let's see what happened. Looks like they're talking to Jarrell, so Jarrell must have won the toss. And now we'll see how it lines up. So Jarrell wins the toss, and they have elected to take and receive the ball. So they're going to have the ball first, unless there's some type of onside by the Panthers. I doubt it, but yeah, and so they will receive. That means the Panthers, which I do like, the Panthers get the opportunity with the ball in the third quarter. So now we'll have the national anthem. So stay tuned.
Marines under the direction of Unit Commander Dillon.
Well, we're back and getting ready to get this thing started. So we'll get ready for the Panthers and the Cougars tonight in a big district game in District 13 4A Division II. So stay tuned.
Back to receive for Jarrell, number 1, Jacob Crothers, and number 24, Elsie Mendy. He's set to kick off for the Panthers, number 32, Colt Brown.
He kicks it deep, and it goes down to the ground, and having a little bit trouble with it as number 24 gets the ball, but he has nowhere to go. And that was Mr. Elsie Mendy that couldn't get a good handle on the ball.
Yeah, and a good job of coverage by the Panthers, not getting out of their lanes and trying to do too much when that ball hit the ground. Just make a big tackle, get him on the ground, and get this drive started at the 21-yard line here for Lago Vista.
Well, there's your starting
correction,
defense.
Jarrell. I don't know why I said Lago Vista. I was in last week's game for Jarrell.
So there's the starting lineup for the Panthers as we went through those. And now Jarrell with the ball spotted at about the 21, 22-yard line. Ball's handed off to the halfback, and he gets about 5 to 6 yards. It'll be 6 yards on the carry.
Travis on the carry.
So
He's taken down by
JT Travis there around the left side. And, you know, again, every eye for the Navarro defense is going to be on Jason Hobbs. So every yard that they can get from somebody else is a big deal.
So that's the starting lineup now being shown for the Jarrell Cougars, as that's their line there. So now Jarrell Cougars comes to the line on the 2nd down and 4, as now look like Hobbs was trying to get out to the right side, and he got just enough for a first down, so it brings up a 1st down and 10 as he crosses the 31-yard line.
Yeah, 5 to the left, 5 to the right, exactly what Jarrell wants to start the game. And, you know, being able to run over both sides with 2 different backs, that's a good start for the Cougars.
Yeah, so the Cougars running a slot T, and you think, wow, we just, in district, we have not seen a lot of teams since, I think it has to be back when Scott Kibbe mentioned Canyon Lake, the last time we seen in district play a slot T team. Now Jarrell coming up 1st and 10. And Jarrell now hands it off to Hobbs, and Hobbs gets only a couple on that one. He's going to get
And I'll play to number 6.
He's going to get close to, yeah, they're going to give him.
He's taken down by 45.
Wow, I think they stretched that out a little bit, but he got 2 yards on the play. We'll go ahead and call it 3 yards. So it's 2nd down and 7 coming up here for the Jarrell Cougars.
Yeah, and a good job of a couple second-level guys coming down and making a tackle on that one. Number 45, Tyler Risky, and number 60, Xander Barnes, getting downhill and making that tackle, both colliding with the running back at the same time.
And Barnes being a sophomore, now Jarrell comes up quickly, and then the handoff to what you normally would say is the halfback in almost an I formation out of that, and that's Hobbs who takes it with a look as a halfback and gets just short of the yard to gain, so it's at the 40-yard line, and so now it's a 3rd and 1 coming up for Jarrell.
Yeah, and these 3rd and short situations are going to tell a lot of the story tonight. You know, these teams really want to get 4 or 5 yards at a time. 3 yards is acceptable, 4 and 5 is good. Getting into 3rd and 1 is really where you want to be in this offense.
Right, and a quarterback, Livesey, hands it off, and it looks like Jarrell's going to have enough to get the 1st down and another yard after that. So they're going to bring up a 1st down and 10 with the ball spotted at the 43-yard line of Jarrell.
And a couple of 1st downs, and we're already almost 3 minutes into this game, and the Panthers obviously haven't had the ball yet. Jarrell's not even close to, or not even to midfield yet. So, you know, the Cougars are doing exactly what they want to do right now, controlling the ball, controlling the line of scrimmage. They're not getting big plays yet, but sometimes those little 2 and 3 yard runs early in the game, if you keep the ball long enough, you tire down the defense, they become the big runs later.
So Lively under center, look at the I formation, but now they hand it off to the tailback, and that's number 2, Nico Rodriguez, the senior. And then looks like, did we end up with a flag? Or
looks like the ball came out at the end, but it looks like they're calling him down.
Yep. So now this is, if you're Jarrell, this is exactly what you want. Be able to get more than 3.5 yards. And, you know, I talked about it for the Panthers on their offense. That's what they need to do. But on defense, you can't let them have that 3.5 yards on every play. You got to get them behind the chains. So you have to, sometimes you have to take chances. And sometimes they hurt you, but sometimes they really benefit you.
Yeah, and it looks like they're playing pretty soft on the back end, really. You know, 5 up front.
Well, now Livesey under the center, hands it right up the gut. And Panthers are there and see if they stop them short of the 1st down. It looks like one spot's going to give them. I don't. I thought he went down before that, but
it's pretty close. It's going to be right on the marker there. But what I was saying before that ball was snapped is you've got 5 up front, you've got 3 right behind, but you've got 3 that are playing pretty deep. I guess they're respecting the ability for Jarrell to throw and hit the big play, but until they show that they want to throw the ball, you might want to bring those safeties a little bit down.
Yeah, that's right. So no, but you know, bend but don't break, and hope they make a mistake. And that's number 11 carrying the ball out to the outside, and he gets all the way up to the Panther 38-yard line, I believe it was.
11, JT
And number
Travis.
11, JT Travis, the
Tackled by 45.
sophomore. A lot of sophomores on this team for Jarrell.
Yeah, it's a pretty good mix. 18
Need to make
seniors, but
second
a
and
lot
2.
of sophomores as well. And we've already seen a good mix from their offense. 3 different ball carriers so far in Rodriguez, Hobbs, and Travis. So they've shown a good mix. They've shown a good balance. They've shown a little bit of that misdirection that we talk about as well.
So Lively under center, hands it off to the, this time to the halfback, JT Travis. And he takes the ball and gets all the way up to the 35-yard line of the Panthers. And that's another first down for the Jarrell Cougars as they're just taking it slowly down the field and able to, get the yardage they need for the first downs and not get behind the chains and make no mistakes right now.
Yeah, and they've almost taken a half of the first quarter off the clock as well. It's almost a 6-minute drive here.
Play keep away as well as a great defense, I tell you. So now Livesey is under center, hands it to the upback, the fullback. I believe that's Hobbs, and Hobbs gets about 7 yards on the play. They're going to go ahead and give him 8 yards, as it's going to be an 8-yard gain for Hobbs.
And they talk about in pass rushing, it's a whole lot harder to pass rush than it is to pass block. It's also a whole lot harder to get off of those blocks than it is to block. So, now I think what we're seeing right now with this Jarrell team is there's the Navarro defense has already got to be getting a little bit tired, having been stuck out there for as long as they have already. And those big boys from Jarrell are starting to get on their blocks for longer.
2nd and 2 here. The ball goes right up the middle, and there's a flag. I would assume coming from the umpire, that's going to be a hold against Jarrell as Hobbs hits a big hole there.
Hobbs, penalty flag on the play.
So flag is up.
Yeah, it looks like
We're going to see.
it is going to be a hold.
Holding Jarrell.
So Jarrell gets called for that infraction. That's going to take it 10 yards back, and we're going to have a 2nd and 12 coming up here for the Jarrell Cougars.
Yeah, and a big momentary reprieve there for the Panthers. And it looked like it was number 77 there for Jarrell. That is Jason Price. Looks like he pancaked a Navarro defender, but might have got the arms on the outside and had a little bit of a sumo takedown there.
Yeah. You have to be very suspicious of those takedowns, that's for sure. So now 2nd and 12 for Jarrell as Livesey comes back. He's going to roll out, looking to pass. He does, and it's to one of the upbacks on a waggle route here, and that looks to be number 22 with the reception, Braden Morlock.
Yeah, and if there's a couple things I'd be talking about with the referees if I were the Navarro coaches. One, it's always an issue with the slot T team. They come up to the line and they snap the ball so fast that offense has to be set for a full second. And I don't think that they have been on several of these plays. And on the last play, that looked like there was a false start as well.
Yeah, and I don't think, again, the tailback gets set, but Hobbs gets the ball up to the right side. He makes a cut outside and then cuts it back inside, enough for the first down. And yeah, I agree with you. The tailback didn't even get set enough before he even went in motion, and you have to be set before you go into motion.
Yeah.
So
and like you said, like we talked about so much before the game, a missed tackle there, and Hobbs is able to pick up the first down. Should have been a 4th and 2, 4th and 3. Instead, it's a first down with almost 8 minutes gone now in the first quarter.
Right. So it's a first down and 10. There's no flag on the play here. I know that it shows a flag, but there was no flag. It's 1st and 10. The ball inside the 35. Ball's loose, and looks like Jarrell came back up with it. That's number 45 that gets on it, Jordan Gaddison, the senior, and he falls on it and protects the ball. And right here is the replay. You see the ball loose as the heads-up play by number 45, Jordan Gaddison.
And not only falls up, but adds about 3-4 yards to the end of the run there as well. So a huge break for Jarrell. But, like we've talked about, they're doing exactly what they want to do. They did try to throw the one time, but it's been mostly on the ground here.
Well, it's going to be 2nd down and 4, and the ball looks like it's spotted at the 18-yard line.
Gain of 7, 2nd and 3.
So here's the play. A little misdirection inside, but Panthers sniff it out. And great play by the Panthers defense there to hold them. So number 65, Vogel, making the big stop there for the Panthers, I believe it was.
Yeah, and just a classic case of reading the keys. They're trying to get that misdirection going, and Vogel stayed home and made the play.
Right, and that's assignment football we talked about. So it's 3rd down and 5 coming up here for Jarrell. Big play for the Panthers. And now the Panthers get almost a tackle for loss. Yes, as Galini was the first one in there to make that tackle. So we'll see if we see that again on the replay.
And Braddock Galini, he's holding on for dear life by the foot there until his teammates could come and join him and help him clean it up. But a great play to get at that penetration, get in the backfield. And now Jarrell's in a bit of no man's land in high school football with a 4th and 7 here. I believe looks like they're going to go for it. Apparently they don't have a kicker that can put some points on the board from there.
Yeah, I mean, with the ball spotted right now at the 22-yard line, and now they have to get down inside the 15, so 4th down and 8 here. And the ball is loose. It came down, and
looks like they blew it dead before it started.
Yeah, it looks like they did, and so it's a false start against Jarrell, so that's going to move them back another 5 yards, but a play that could have went really bad for Jarrell may be actually to their advantage because that ball was loose, and now now they're backed up 4th down and about 13 here for the Jarrell Cougars.
Yeah, and what a stop this would be if the Panthers can get it. I mean, it's been a 10-minute drive. Being able to be resilient enough to stay, to not get frustrated, to stay within yourself and do the things that you're supposed to do to get off the field would be a huge stop for the Panthers.
Right here, big play as they got a wide out to the right, and the quarterback's going out to the right. He's got a Hobbs there, and the Panthers don't stop him on that 4th down, and he gets just enough for a first down. Where they spot him, I believe, is going to be out of bounds. Real close, and yes, they did say it's a first down as Hobbs gets the 13 yards needed on that pass play.
And 2 missed tackles there. He caught that ball well short of the first down. He had about 5 yards to go to get the first down. When he got it, the Panthers forced them into a position that they did not want to be in, being forced to throw the ball. If Jarrell's going to throw the ball, they want to do it when they want to do it, not because they have to, but they made it work on that play.
Right, and so now you've got Jarrell with the ball at Hobbs, takes it off to the left side, and he's met at the line, and he only gets a couple yards on the run. So that's going to bring up a 2nd down and 8 here for the Jarrell Cougars.
And I know I've kind of been a bit of the time tracker here in the first quarter, but over 10 minutes on this drive now for the Cougars. We're down less than 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and the Panthers have yet to touch the football. This is slot T football to a T right here.
To a T, yeah. I love that, So now ball goes, Panthers, even some of them were a little deceived as long as myself, just look down for one moment, and then bam, the Panthers are able to stop the ball. It looks like Nico Rodriguez was the ball carrier on that one. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and long. Here it's going to be about 3rd and 8 still, maybe 3rd and 7, we'll call it.
Yeah, and a good job by the middle core of the Navarro defense that time, because it did look like you said some of the defense was a little discombobulated on that one.
Yeah, here we go with Livesey under the pass. He rolls out to his right again, a waggle that goes up to number 22, and that's, again, completed, and it's going to be right at the first down marker, and that number 22, again, is Mr. Braden Morlock. He is a sophomore on the team.
Yeah, and you hate to harp on it, but yet another missed tackle with another chance to bring up a 4th down and another chance to maybe get off the field, but Jarrell picks it up again. And now it's 1st and goal at, the 3-yard line.
Yeah, 1st and goal at the 3. And the Jarrell Cougars have been slowly driving it down, but they were backed up on a 4th and long, and they were able to convert it. Hobbs takes the ball right up the gut. He's driving in, and he does get a touchdown. So that is a touchdown for the Jarrell Cougars.
Number 6, Jason Hobbs.
I mean, what can you say? Just an amazing drive to keep the ball for almost the entire first quarter. 11 minutes and 32 seconds went off the clock on that drive. The Cougars pick up some big 3rd downs. They pick up the big 4th down when they were backed up against the chains, or backed up behind the chains. And it looks like a little swinging gate action. Now they're going to bring the kicker out.
A swinging gate here by the Cougars, but they come back to set up. Looks like number 2 is going to be their kicker, and that's going to be Nico Rodriguez. He ran the ball on a couple of those plays. So extra point coming up. It's 6-0, pending this extra point attempt. And the ball is up. It looks to be good from here, and they call it good. So now the Jarrell Cougars take the lead 7-0 and pretty much take the whole first quarter, all but 28 seconds of it. So now the Panthers have got a chore, for them, and they'll have to take and
I do apologize. I took out the monitor, so Hank's having to do some maintenance work here on my behalf. And just got a note from Scott Kibbe, 21 plays on that drive, 79 yards. Yeah, like we said, it took 11:32 off the clock. And if you're Jarrell, you couldn't have asked for a better start than that. Going all the way down the field, a couple of back-breaking third and fourth down plays, and finally being able to take it to pay dirt to get the early lead here.
Right. Yeah, that's picture-perfect slot T, if you want to call it that. With Jarrell, they kept the ball away from the Panthers. Mm-hmm. They scored, but the Panthers defense, that fourth down and 13 was the key play in that drive. If they hold on that one, hey, it's you eat up all that time, but it goes to hurt you when you can't score.
Well, and the other thing that they did was they got a lot of guys involved in the game.
Sure.
They had several running backs there who were able to make plenty of yards. Obviously, Hobbs was the focal point and ended up scoring the touchdown. But it's a big deal for Jarrell to be able to get as many guys into the game and lathered up as they were. And now we've got an official coming over to talk to the Navarro coach. Not exactly sure what that's about. But now it's all about responding for the Panthers. They got punched in the mouth, and against a team that, comes in with a lot of confidence, having won a couple of district games to start here. So we'll see how they respond with their first chance on offense.
Yeah, now the Panthers are ready to receive. And we'll show a play later here on, we'll illustrate a little bit if we can. And in the next break, as we'll look at that fourth down play and how it developed. Now the ball was kicked short, and with the Panthers coming up with good field position, and now the Panthers come up with it, and that was number 6 for the Panthers, Alex Leckwald, who comes up with it. So, now we'll kind of show that play here, as you're going to see. And you're going to see here, as the quarterback stops, he's going to come out here, and then he's going to make the break and have some tackles here. So we'll see that real quick. Now we'll come back to live action. As now the Panthers take the ball and is able to get up to 2 yards on a play. We need that 3.5 yards, so it's going to bring it out as second down at 8 here for the Panthers.
Yeah, and to be expected, the Panthers start with Cohen Blunt. They want to see what they can do in the middle of that Jarrell defense and see exactly how creative they have to get. If Blunt gets going, you don't have to do a whole lot. Only 3 seconds left in the first quarter here. Can they get another playoff?
Yeah. Here's Conway. Colorado Conway is able to get good yardage. That's the kind of yardage we've been looking for on every play. So it's going to bring up a third down and short. Conway makes a good play on that one.
And that in the first quarter, if you can believe it. The Panthers have had the ball for 2 plays, and the quarter is over. So Jarrell takes the 7-0 lead into the second quarter here.
So now we'll take a quick break. You're watching Navarro Panther football on the Navarro Panther Network. We'll be right back after this little message. Now we're back. All right, now we're back, and the Panthers get a first down. I believe that was Big Cohen Blunt on the carry, and he gets about 4 yards on the carry, so we'll give it the old big.
And one thing we talk about, obviously, with the slot T, you want to get the 3-4 yards at a time. It's such a big deal to be able to fall forward for those extra 1 or 2 yards at the end of each run as well.
Oh yeah, and with the slot T too, that you talked about it earlier in pregame, is that you set so many things up when you do that, and when you can do that. There's Conway. He goes off to the left side, and he gets about 7-8 yards on the play. We'll call that 8 yards for Conway. 2 good runs by Conway. Coming in, running off of that halfback side.
Well, and what I like to see on that as well is, Blunt's not just a runner. He's out there leading his teammate as the lead blocker on that play for those 8 yards. And, once again, just staying ahead of the chains. That's what the slot T offense, I know we have hammered that point home since we got here, but that is the key to the slot T offense.
Helford under center and motion by Trotty. Trotty takes the ball, and he's got some room. Trotty goes up the field, he's going to get about 10 yards on that carry. He takes it to the 28-yard line. First down, Panthers. We'll give him a big.
And so far, a big response here from the Panthers. It's easy to get down when things haven't gone the way that you've wanted to. 1-5 for the season. And then you watch a team go over 11 minutes, 21 plays, keep the ball, just, go straight down the field against you, basically take the entire first quarter. It'd be easy to get your head down a little bit, even though it's early in the game. Panthers have done a great job of responding here.
All right, now right up the middle again, Blunt takes the ball, and he gets that 3.5 yards or more. I would say they're going to give him 4 yards on that carry, so there's the big locomotive. So it brings up a 2nd down and 6.
And if you ask any coach in any offense, I think they would, if they told you you're going to be in 2nd and 6 every time, they would take it. 4 yards on first down is such a big deal.
Oh, yeah. So 2nd down and 6 here for the Panthers. Panthers taking their time. I guess, again, they want to play keep away as well. They don't want Jarrell to have the ball any more than what they have it. So they take their time. Helford under center and hands the ball to halfback Conway. He's got some room off that left side. He gets pushed from behind, but not until after he gets that first down for the Panthers.
Big hole on the left side there. The left side of the line getting the job done. Number 52 getting out in front there. That was Cade Pugh. He put somebody on, or knocked somebody out of the hole there and allowed that to go for a big gain.
So now the Panthers first down and 10, and they're at we'll call it the 14-yard line, and 9:32. What do you think they run here? They're going to keep doing what they're doing, or do you think this is a good opportunity on first down to play action here?
No, I get frustrated with coaches when they get away from what's working. So I would like to see them just continue to do exactly what they're doing. Slot T teams don't like to throw when they don't have to.
Again, to the bread and butter tonight has been there's a flag that comes out, and I don't know if it's going to be one of those illegal blocks that's going to be. But it might be offsides on the defense since it comes from the linesman, so we'll see what the call is here. Or is it a legal shift? What do you think? I'm just speculating.
It came out pretty quick, so I'm not exactly sure what
made the
is.
call that's against the defense. So,
okay.
So now that takes the ball on a first down. There we go. A hit below the waist. You can't take a blocker out below the waist as a blocker comes in. And it used to be easily legal. You could take that lead blocker and knock his legs out. You can't do that anymore, and that's what the call was. So now it's going to be 1st and goal for the Panthers at the 4-yard line. So here's the handoff to Blunt. He's got a little bit of room. He might be. Oh, he's in. They're calling him a touchdown on the side.
Touchdown, Panthers. Ray Cohen Blunt for 4 yards out.
And that's a big young man finding a way to slip through a tiny hole there on the right side. And like I said, just fall forward and get into the end zone there. So a huge answer there by the Panthers. And like Scott Kibbe said before the game, Jarrell, yes, you see the numbers. They've run up some big yardage totals, especially Jason Hobbs being able to put up the numbers that he did last week. But they've also given up some pretty big numbers as well. So there's opportunities there for the Panthers.
Yeah, the ball was up and good, and Panthers had that touchdown, and now they got the extra point. That takes the score. Now 7-all here in the second quarter of play, but the Panthers not taking as much time, but had a shorter field to work with, which was also nice because that short kick that Jarrell had allowed for the Panthers now to be able to take advantage of good field position, drive it down. So it's mano-a-mano. Yeah. We're going at it, throwing punches.
And going all the way back to that kickoff, it was a good play by the returner. He had room to run there, but it looked like he was a little uncomfortable with the handling on the ball. He just fell on it. He took the good field position, didn't try to do too much, and set the Panthers up in a very good position. Note from Scott Kibbe here, 9 plays, 61 yards for the Panthers. Like you said, it wasn't the 11-minute, 32-second drive like Jarrell had, but it's just as effective. It put 7 on the board, and now let's see if the Navarro defense can ride some of that momentum and get the ball back.
Yeah, we've really shortened the game. I haven't seen any score updates yet on our ticker yet. So between you have Wimberley playing Salado tonight, and watching for the score on that one. So now the return man looks to be number 2, Nico Rodriguez, getting off to the right. I'm sorry, that's number 3. I'll check that as he comes off to the right side, and J.J. Fitch gets all the way off to the right side and gets decent field position for the Jarrell Cougars.
Yeah, and going back to the point on that last drive for the Panthers, 3 minutes and 37 seconds off the clock for Navarro on that drive. Not quite the 11-minute, 32 seconds. I'm just blown away by that first drive for Jarrell, going 11 minutes and 32 seconds, taking up nearly the entire first quarter. But an amazing answer there by the Panthers.
Oh, yeah. So now the Jarrell Cougars' turn with the ball now. Panthers, like I said, we talked about making those type of plays they need to make along the bend but don't break, and hopefully you can see them make a mistake, Jarrell, that is. So now Livesey gets the ball up to Hobbs. Hobbs is fighting for yardage. It's still a scrum, and Hobbs goes down after gaining about 4 yards on the play. And I see they whistled them early, so it's going to be 4 yards, bring up 2nd down and 6 here for the Jarrell Cougars.
Yeah, solid gain, but a good job of gang tackling by the Navarro defense. They had 3 or 4 guys get off of blocks there and get to the ball all at the same time and not allow that 3 or 4 yard gain to become a 5 or 6, 7, 8, or maybe even a big play.
So now you have Jarrell with the ball coming up out of the slot tee. They're coming in with the I slot tee, and they hand it back to the halfback, which is Hobbs. A nice big hit by the Panthers right at the line of scrimmage. Didn't catch the number, but I want to say that was Corbin Benish that makes that tackle right there. Nice big tackle by Corbin Benish.
Yeah, Corbin Benish made the tackle on that play, but I didn't see who it was. Whoever took out the lead blocker on that and blew them up, knocked them backwards into that running back really was the one that made the play.
Yeah, and then we have
Corbin Benish to clean that one up.
Sure, and I think it was one of the big linemen up there up front right now on the defensive line is Chris Ladensba that is up front. And it almost got a tackle in the backfield for a loss, but it still is a loss as the Panthers get in the backfield of Jarrell and really mess things up for their running back, Nico Rodriguez.
Yeah, and you saw a whole lot more late shifting from the defensive line on that drive. It looks like they're really starting to kind of clue into what Jarrell's doing. They're trying to confuse that offensive line with that motion late. Good job by the Panthers forcing a 3 and out here.
Yeah, 2 yard loss on that play brings up a 4th down and 8 here for Jarrell, and they're in a punting formation. Don't ever know if they're actually going to punt. I've seen so many slot teams that do that rugby style that you just never know what they're going to do. Oh, underneath the block, it was almost blocked as Galini came in, and Panthers let it roll. They're going to let it roll all the way to their own 40-yard line as it's down by the Jarrell Cougars. So this will be at the 40. But the punt went under the Galini, who was laying himself out, and it went underneath him. So
yeah,
I don't know if we have that on replay.
That one.
So
think we might be breaking the laws of
Here's the
physics with that one
replay. I don't know
because-
if we got it. Oh, he got.
Yeah,
he had to lay out just a little bit more in front, and wow, he was
First down, Panthers
close.
at their own 40.
Yeah, still good field position here for the Panthers, though.
Yes. So now the Panthers 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line of their own 40. Helford under center. Hands the ball off to Galini, the bread and butter play tonight. And Galini's got some room. He's got some speed. He can go all the way. He's at the 10, at the 5. He's in for the touchdown. Your Panther touchdown.
Touchdown, Panthers. 21, Colorado Kenway. 60 yards on the touchdown.
That's a 60-yard run by Colorado Kenway.
Yeah, and a great job of that offensive line on the left side, just blowing it up. And Kenway able to get up inside between his guard and tackle there.
Right.
Slip a couple of tackles, and then it was just pure speed to the end zone.
Well, after this extra point, hopefully we'll be able to see the replay on that one after this extra point. So it's up and it's good. And so now the Panthers, oh, we got a flag that comes out late. I don't know who it's going to be against, but it looks to be after the ball is dead, and so the Panthers should be able to retain this one. They may take it off on the kickoff. Let's see. So waiting for the white hat, the head official here, to make the call.
Whatever they do call,
Yeah.
it's going to be on the kickoff.
So dead ball foul, unsportsmanlike conduct that goes against the Panthers. So it looked like they were talking to one of the Panther players, but they have an offsetting hit. So it ended up, looks like it was offsetting after it's all said and done. And so you get one more. Yeah, you one more, and that player is out of here.
Yeah.
So they are ejected from that. So.
Yeah, not really a smart play from either team. You know, you want
So-
to be able to keep your head in this situation. It's got to be a little bit frustrating for Jarrell, though. I know they came in with a lot of confidence, having won the first 2 games in district play, and coming in with a full head of steam against a team that, they probably had some questions about going against after the blowout that they suffered last year. Obviously, it's a new season, a lot of different players in the game, but it's both teams need to kind of keep their head. It's like we talked about. It's going to be an intense game. The team that can kind of just stay even keeled and not let the emotions get the best of them might have the advantage in this one.
Oh, yeah, and now the Panthers kick off with a 14-7 lead here in the second quarter, 6:18. Now, they didn't take much time off of that one at all. So now it's kicked deep, really deep, and the ball is stuck at the 1-yard line, and it stops from going in, and it's picked up, it looks like, by number 3 again, who does not get very far. He gets about a 7-yard, or 6 yards, I guess, on that return, as now number 3, J.J. Fitch, didn't know what to do with the ball as it stopped dead right at the goal line, right before the goal line.
It did, and Fitch really did the right thing there, trying to let that ball go into the end zone. The ball just checked up. It's not a normal thing for the ball to check up like that, but it did this time, and it worked in the Panthers' advantage. And right now, every bit of momentum is on Navarro's side.
Yes. So now the Panthers have Jarrell pinned deep. The ball's at the 6-yard line. It's 1st down and 10 for Jarrell. Panthers defense has come alive as they've gotten a couple tackles for loss, TFLs. Let's see if they can do it now. Livsley, but there was some movement early, it looked like, on that play, but still, Jarrell gets the ball out to the 16-yard line. They're going to get right at the 1st down line to gain, and they're going to get the 1st down. 10-yard run by Hobbs.
Yeah, the big play to get out of the shadow of their own goal line, pick up a 1st down. Maybe start to stem the tide just a little bit of this Navarro momentum that was really rolling here for the past 5 or 6 minutes.
So now now with the Panthers, playing better on defense, they've got to now, you talked about earlier, make those stops with those tackles right behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. And now the Panthers trying to make the stop, but not after a big gain by Hobbs. He gets, and slot T, a big game is anything over 3.5 yards. And so now that play, 7-yard gain by Hobbs, brings up a 2nd down and 3.
Well, and I talked about the movement that Navarro had on the defensive line. They're doing something similar, but now the Jarrell offensive line has seen it. They're starting to pick it up. They're starting to pick up those 6, 7, 8-yard plays.
So, yeah, it's 2nd down and 3 here for Jarrell as they come up with slot T. Livesey hands the ball off to the up back, the fullback, but there's a flag that comes thrown in as Hobbs gets the ball and only gains a yard on that play. So let's see what the call is here by the head official.
Yeah, and that flag thrown into the middle of the line.
Yeah,
there.
so you usually see a hold on that one, but you never know. Legal hands to the face. It could be just about anything. Personal foul, face mask against Jarrell, against the offense. So this must have been a lineman grabbing, that somebody's face mask that's on the line. So Panthers catch a big break. That's a 15-yard variety type. So when you talk about personal fouls, 15 yards putting you back from where you're at, that's huge.
Well, and I didn't see if it was during the play or a dead ball. If it's during the play,
Right.
then it goes 15 yards from the previous spot, but you keep it down.
Yeah.
If it was a dead ball, it goes to wherever the play goes from wherever the play ended, but you lose the down. So looks like it's going to be 2nd down still,
Right.
so it must have been during the play.
Yeah, as it was being thrown while the runner was going through the line, Hobbs, I believe, and he only getting a yard too on that one.
Right.
So, yeah, you always think, well, do you want that, down or do you want the yardage? In this case, since it's 15 yards, you want the yardage.
You definitely want the yardage. You want the 2nd and 15, not the 3rd and inches.
So 2nd and 15 here, as now it looks to be the runner's trying to get to the outside, and that's going to be number 11, J.T. Travis. And Panthers come up big on the stop by, allowing 6 yards on the play, but still it brings up a 3rd and long. It's going to be 3rd and 9 here.
Yeah, and I'm usually a big proponent of running backs turning up as quickly as they can and trying to get as many yards as they can. That time it looked like he turned it up a little bit too quick. He had some room around the end there, but got a few yards, but he had some more room along the sideline.
Yeah, I've been watching the slot T since my son was in junior high that graduated here in 2018, and then my other son as well. And, all the backs are taught to cut it up as quickly as possible. So, all the backs have been taught that. And now it's a short yardage game. And the Panthers look like they may have come up with a fumble here. So the Panthers come up with it on that fumble. Let's see. Here's the replay.
Yeah, number 60, Xander Barnes ends up with the football on that play.
As Xander Barnes comes up with it as the ball pops out. And the Panthers come up big as they have the lead 14-7 here. And the Panthers now in great field position with the ball spotted at the 21-yard line.
And boy, what a difference the couple of drives makes here.
Right.
You get that first one where they couldn't seem to get anybody on the ground. They couldn't make the big tackle. Now they've had the 3-and-out and the turnover.
So Helford keeps it off to the right side, and he gains about 5 yards on the play. No, I gave him more yardage than it was. We'll say 4 yards. So 2nd down. Hey, I'll take 4 yards, though.
You got a little excited. You were riding that momentum with them.
So, and we see Helford is one of the big play backs that we have for the Panthers as the quarterback. He has the speed and he has the strength, and with that deception of looking like you're going to hand it off, and it's like a bootleg, but you got a lead blocker out there, and a good job by the lead blocker as well. Sorry. I'm going into my I'm so used to being color as well. Hard to be play-by-play in color. So, and now Helford under center. It's handed off to Conway again, and Conway's really done some damage, off that left side, and he does it again. He gets about 4 to 5 yards on that play. They're actually going to give him 5, and he's going to be 3rd and 1 here.
Well, and a couple of plays like that not only gets some good yardage, but it also gives Blunt a little bit of time to kind of rest and, maybe recharge a little bit before he gets another carry.
Yeah, exactly. And here you would expect a lot of Cohen Blunt, bringing it right at you. But, again, you use those plays sometimes to set up the other plays. Slot T. Now it is Blunt, and Blunt does get the first down and then some, and he's still going all the way down. And he's in the end zone. Oh, my God. They've called it a touchdown. Way to go, Panthers.
Cohen Blunt's going to get the touchdown on the statistic on that one, but give that one to the entirety of the offensive line. and there's other backs that got behind him and pushed him all the way from about the 5-yard line into the end zone. And what I was going to say is on that before that third down play is when it's 3rd and 1, give the ball to Blunt.
Yeah.
Don't mess around with it. It's the kiss. It's the whole kiss theory. Keep it simple, stupid. Give the ball to Colin Blunt. Let him do his thing. He did. They got behind him. Touchdown Panthers.
Well, that extra point is good. So now the Panthers take a lead here, 21-7, as the defense has been able to come up big in the last couple of series, make big stops, cause a turnover. You're talking about a recipe for winning. That's exactly what you need to do.
And we also, we talked some about the kicking game before the game. There weren't big plays necessarily in the kicking game, but that ball checking up right by the 1-yard line. Jarrell gets backed up. It wasn't a blocked punt, but it forced a short punt. Good field position at the 40. Those plays, they don't look like the big plays like you think about in the kicking game, the big kickoff returns, the blocked punts, the blocked field goals, the blocked kicks basically,
right.
and the long returns. But those things are just as big as anything for the Panthers right now, and they have absolutely owned this second quarter.
Well, I don't know if we got a shot of the little cheerleaders walking off, but we had these little cheerleaders, if we had those, to get a shot of all the little cheerleaders that came out tonight as they're walking off the field. But now we'll go back to the game. And back deep, one of the return men takes it at the 10-yard line, and it looks to be number 1 for Jarrell, but man, Vogel was there on the stop. So Jacob Crothers, the senior, did not make a huge return, but he did get about 15 yards on that return.
Yeah, a good return, but field position has really been in Navarro's favor pretty much this entire game. Even the drive that Jarrell went and took 21 plays for the touchdown, they started on their own 21, so they haven't had great field position in this entire game. Navarro, again, starting on the 40, starting well on the other side of the Jarrell, on Jarrell's side of the field after the turnover, starting at the 39, I believe, to start their first drive. So they've been able to start in great field position. They've really owned that battle as well.
Okay, well, you hit all the points there, Jason, that we like to hear. And so now Livesey under center, gets it to Hobbs. Hobbs gets about 4 to 5 yards on that, and we'll call it 4 yards, so bring up 2nd down and 6 by Hobbs. As Hobbs, hasn't been able to break those big ones against the Panthers. Panthers defense doing a good job of wrapping them up.
Yeah, they really have, and especially since that first drive. He was able to slip a few tackles on that first drive, but they have done a much better job of getting more guys, more hats to the football as this game has gone on.
So now the Jarrell comes up with 2nd down and 6. Livesey, is under center, hands the ball off. It's tripped up right away. Is Hobbs as he gains only about 2 yards on the play. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 5 here for the Jarrell Cougars, as the Panthers now, can hope to get their claws in them and stop them here on 3rd down.
Yeah, and on that play, they had about 8 down linemen there. They had every gap filled, and everybody did their job. Nobody got out of their lanes, did not allow Hobbs to break a big run there.
Now you're going to look for, you can look for play actions off of that as the Panthers look to load the box. And right now, 3rd down and 5 by the Panthers. And now the ball is down inside in the back, and the ball comes out, and the Panthers have it again. Oh, my Lord. It looks like Ian Garcia comes up with that fumble.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers are just doing a great job of tackling the football right now, as they say, getting a bunch of guys to the ball. The first guy makes the hit. The second guy strips it out, and Ian Garcia falls on it. Once again, the Panthers' momentum just continues to roll.
Yeah, Ian Garcia still celebrating there on the sideline.
And now it's an interesting situation with only 1:11 left here in the second quarter. Great field position, but, it's a methodical offense that likes to put together a lot of plays to score. They're going to need a big one to try to get in the end zone this time.
Yeah, Panthers need to make sure to take care of this with 1:11 here in the first half of play. Halford hands it off to Trotty. Trotty's got a little bit of room on the right side. Then he's bottled up after a gain about 3 yards on the play. And so it's going to bring up a 2nd down and 7 here coming up for the Panthers.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see them try to hurry up a little bit here. The Panthers do have some timeouts left. I believe they have all 3, actually.
Yeah, and they have all 3 timeouts, and Helford under center quickly. And they hand off to Conway. He's got some room. He's past the first down marker, and he's down to the 15-yard line. And that's going to be a 10-yard gain for Conway. And timeout being called by the Panthers. So as the Panthers take a timeout, we'll take a timeout too, and we'll be right back. You're back here in Geronimo, Texas, as the Navarro Panthers, have a first down and 10 at the 15-yard line, and they're leading 21-7. Here's a handoff to Cohen Blunt. He gets about 3 yards on the play, so there's your locomotive running right up the gut. Nothing fancy. Timeout by the Panthers as well. So, Jason?
I'm kind of amazed by the way that this one has turned.
Yeah.
A 21-play drive that we keep going back to, or I keep going back to anyway. 11 minutes and 32 seconds off the clock on that first drive for Jarrell. And it looked like, the Cougars' momentum that they carried in here, winning the first 2 district games, might just continue. But the Panthers immediately put that to bed. They scored on that first drive, and I think that was the biggest key that we've seen so far. And then, the big special teams plays, the 2 turnovers now that have set the Panthers up in great field position, and now they've got a chance to score. Not only do they have a chance to score here, they've got a chance to take the 28-7 lead. They're going to get the ball first coming out of halftime, so they might have a chance to put 2 more scores on the board before Jarrell even touches the ball again.
Hello?
Yeah, so second and 7 for the Panthers. So now the Panthers take it off to the left side, and they're in for the score, and it's a touchdown, Panthers.
21, Colorado Kenway.
Colorado Kenway. Big run for the Panthers.
Yeah, a 12-yard touchdown run. I'll tell you what, the left side of that offensive line has just been absolutely dominant here in the second quarter. They're just blowing everything up. They're allowing Kenway to really get 5-6 yards down the field before he's even touched on most of his runs. So, again, just sheer domination. It's going to be, if they make this kick, it's 28-0 in the second quarter.
Yeah, in the second quarter, 28 points by the Panthers scored, and not a very far drive. Again, a short field based on a turnover, and the Panthers have played excellent defense tonight.
They have, and it's really come after the first drive. I think the biggest adjustment that they made was some of the motions that they're doing, or some of the late movement, some of the late shifts that they're making on the defensive line. I think it's confusing the Jarrell offensive line. They're not allowed to set their blocks. They're not allowed to figure out exactly who they're supposed to go get.
Right.
And it's allowing 2 and 3 Navarro players to get to the ball. And what that does, like we talked about, the first guy comes in and makes the wrap.
Right.
The second guy can go after the ball then.
Right.
And that's what they've done a couple of times, and they've been able to get the ball out, and it's set them up for great field position.
Right.
And the Panthers just have everything rolling right now.
Well, I got a score update in the second quarter with 9 minutes remaining. For Wimberley Texans leads Salado Eagles 28-0 in that, and 19-0 is Laga Vista over the Gonzales Apaches. Here's the kick by Brown. Brown kicks it up, and he kicks it deep. Again, down to the 2-yard line as the return man for Jarrell gets the ball, and he's hit hard at the 15, 16-yard line is where they're going to spot it. And now the Panthers' big hit, I think that was Leckwood Wald that made the big hit.
Yeah, and at this point, if you're Jarrell, you probably just take a knee, just go into halftime and try to regroup.
Right.
Right now, they've been hit with a buzzsaw here in this second quarter.
That's right, and we'll have some Scott Kibbe stats for us. We'll bring up the stats, and we'll talk about some volleyball, also bios that we have for the volleyball team. We'll bring those up as well, and talk about our predictions for the second half, because the Panthers do get the ball, hopefully, in the second half. So the score is 28-0 Panthers lead with 29 seconds. And the ball is loose again, and does the Panthers come up with it?
Looks like they did.
And they did, and they came up with it again. Here with the Panthers have 23 seconds left. They lead 28-7, and the ball
Ethan
comes out.
Borchert.
Hobbs could not get it.
Yeah, Ethan Borchert comes up with that one, and a disaster here for Jarrell. Not only now could Navarro get 2 for 1 coming out of the half, it could be a 3 for 1
yes.
in the last couple of minutes here in the second quarter and the first drive of the third quarter. So, that's why I think, like I said, if I were Jarrell, I'm just kneeling that one, not taking any chance of taking it to the locker room, because that's what can happen, especially with the team that one is floundering and one is just coming on.
Yeah, now the Panthers under center. Helford gets it over to Conway. That's been the play tonight as the play gets off to the left side. Panthers only have one timeout here remaining in the first half, and they take that timeout right now.
So now if you're the Panthers, how greedy do you get? Do you try to throw the ball? Do you try to, if you run it, you've got to try to get out of bounds. So you got to try to run something to the boundary, maybe get a slot back or something and have him running outside. But it's an interesting situation here. I think you have to probably put the ball in the air, because if you run the ball, the only other thing that you could do is if you get a short run, get up there, spike it, try to make a field goal before the half.
And so,
but with 17 seconds, it's a little dicey.
Right, you could get 2 plays out of it, quite possibly. So it happens.
Thank you for all your support.
And especially, another thing with high school football is if you do get the first down, the clock will stop as well. So you could get another play that way as well.
So
$10 a ticket. Only 350 will be sold.
So now the Panthers come out here with
between the third and fourth quarter, 3 chances to win prizes.
second down.
First prize is
and
the Philips
6.
65-inch 4K
And they have the ball spotted right at the 13-yard line or 12-yard line. Sorry.
The third prize is a metal Navarro Panthers sign.
Panthers have 17 seconds to make this a 3-for-1 deal. We'll see what happens. Helford under center, spread out to the right, and it looks like we got a flag on a play. It's probably going to be a false start or a legal snap.
Yeah, it looked
false start against the Panthers.
False start, Panthers.
Looked like Blunt was going down there as the snap occurred. He never got set on that one.
So now the Panthers get the ball pushed back, and it'll be second down 11. The ball's going to be spotted at the 17-yard line. They're still in the red zone, Jason, and to see if they can, ball it with 16 seconds. I don't know how a second ticked off when it was a false start.
Yeah,
so
it was 17. I did see on that one they lined up in basically a straight eye with 2 receivers right. So it looks like they did open up the formation a little bit. Maybe we will see them put the ball in the air here.
Yeah, so we have a Helford under center again. He does roll out to his right. He's being harassed by number 21, and he breaks through the line, and he gets down to the 10-yard line. Panthers don't have a timeout. They have the clock is ticking. Tick, 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 tick. And we have the Panthers looking at the clock as the clock runs out and goes down to 0. Since Soto has a good leg, or even Brown does, Colt Brown's been kicking well too. Did you think we should have just either, hurried up and knew ran in the middle, clock it, and then,
I think once he got out on the edge there, the mistake that he made was turning that one up. He could have gotten out of bounds, or he could have thrown it away. But, hindsight's 20/20. They still got they didn't have the big disaster play. That's the biggest thing there. They carried they kept the momentum. They dominated the second quarter, and they're going to carry that into the locker room.
Well, we definitely will, we'll look forward to the second half and see what the Panthers can do. So now we'll kind of have some of the sights and sounds of halftime. Well, we take a quick break, and we'll be back here. You're watching Navarro Panther football on the Navarro Panther Network. We'll be right back.
And now, for your halftime entertainment, the sweethearts of Jarrell High School, the Cougars Stars. The Stars are under the direction of Caroline Zaretic. Social officers are Emily Hernandez-Serpa, Zlanzer Pay, and Madison Romero. Lieutenants are Jeliza Sandoval and Natalie Vea. And your 2024-2025 captain, Marley Brummett.
All right, we're back here in Geronimo, Texas. We're having Scott Kibbe to come in with the stats. We're going to show you some of the stats up forward, and there's some of the stats there for the halftime. As Jarrell has 99 rushing yards, 26 passing for a total of 125. The Panthers just rushing 177. So, Scott, tell us a little bit more about the story there that we're showing on the screen.
All right, Jarrell, 8 first downs, 26 rushes for those 99 yards, 26 passing yards on 3 out of 3 attempts. One punt for 34 yards, 4 fumbles, lost 3. And then 4 penalties for 31 yards. Hobbs, a big rusher from last week, 14 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Other than that first drive, Panthers have done a great job shutting him down. For the Panthers, 8 first downs, 19 rushes for those 177, and a lot of goose eggs after that. No passing yards, no passing attempts, no punts, no fumbles, no penalties. The real star emerging tonight, we've kind of been seeing some hints of it in past games, Colorado Kenway, 9 carries, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Cohen Blunt, 6 carries, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and do you know, everything we've seen today was, with the Panthers just doing what they normally do on offense, and we're doing exactly what we need to do. But let's talk about defense. What did you see from their Panthers defense that really is it more about what the Panthers defense did? I should rephrase that, as opposed to what Jarrell didn't do.
It's a little bit of both, but I think what the Panthers defense does that Coach Splund is always stressing is they're just running to the ball. They're gang tackling. You're getting several of them. So those guys can break tackles, but when you got 5 of them there, it's harder to get out of that. So they're doing a much better job containing. And I think frankly Jarrell in the second quarter got a little rattled, and I think that started to show.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the second half. If the Panthers can keep it up since they get the ball first, I mean, it's critical to go up by 35-7. I think, that would be, putting us up in a really good position to win this football game.
Yeah, they've got the home run hitter. They don't have a lot of – they can hit deep passes. They've done it. So you want to keep scoring. You want to build this lead up.
No doubt.
You never feel safe.
Right.
Well, and if you get up 35-7, though, we talk about those 3 and 4 yards being good plays for a team in the slot T offense. But when you're down 35-7, you need a lot more than 4 yards at a time. That Navarro defense would be perfectly happy to allow another 21-play drive that takes up an entire quarter because they're only scoring once.
And it'd be great the Navarro offense has not played with a lead since the opener. They've never been up more than 1 score. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to finally do that, and they can churn clock, and they can run it just like Jarrell was able to on that first drive, puts you in a really good position.
Yeah, and I talked about some of the defensive adjustments that they made after that first drive. A lot more movement, a lot more shifting late. And I think that really confused the Jarrell offensive line quite a bit, allowed a lot of guys to get into the backfield. And like I talked about, one wraps up, one gets the ball, and they start fumbling the ball and just turning it over.
That's right.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
The Panthers had been outscored 78-13 in the second quarter this year. They outscored Jarrell 28-0 tonight. So a lot of trends, and I have to point out, when Jason was the editor of the Seguin Gazette, sports editor covering the Matadors, those 3 years, they had 3 of their best years they've had in the last 25 years. With Coach Carson's teams, a lot of people remember. I think Desmond Jackson
really and Calvin Catt, Isaiah Sneed, and go down the list.
Great teams, and so I think we got to give credit right now to Jason.
He's our good luck charm. Lance. I know Lance is. He's out there and he's listening. But Lance, we do miss you. Don't worry. We need you back when you can. But Jason might be our good luck charm. We may just have him up here working some of the equipment or something, or coming in and maybe keeping some other drive stats or something like that. Because we got to have that. We got to have that good luck with it.
The funny thing about it is, when I got here to Seguin, all I heard about was, the Matadors haven't beaten New Braunfels in 23 years. All 3 years I was here, Seguin won that game.
We haven't seen it since. Maybe I don't know. I mean, maybe once or twice. I don't know. But anyhow, now the second half is going to be, I think, is a key for the Panthers. Is not just to maintain what they have here. Is they got to just put the pedal to the metal. And as you said, if scoring, you got to score. The more you score, obviously, with this type of lead, you've got to be able to 21-point lead. You got to take advantage of it.
Well, you're really building confidence out there. They look different out there, not just in how they play, but they just look lighter. They're just, I think you can just tell how much better they're feeling. So you want to keep building on that, because you've got 3 more games you want to carry this into and get yourself in a good position for playoffs. They can still finish in the top 2 in the district.
Well, and Kibby, you talked about it. You've covered this team in this district, throughout the season. So, in my mind, just seeing what I've seen from the teams that Navarro played, it looks like their schedule was very front-loaded in the district, and that they played the 2 best teams, and maybe Jarrell being another one of the teams that's going to be in that playoff mix. It gets a little bit easier on the back end.
I think so. It's hard right now to tell what you're going to get out of Gonzales and Lago Vista. But, this team beat Lago Vista pretty handily. But clearly Wimberley's the top team. I think Smithville looks like will be the bottom team. And I think everybody else, we're just still trying to figure out what they got.
It's a fight for that 4th spot, basically, is what you're looking at. But I think Panthers can take even higher. So getting all the way up, as you pointed out in your article on Wednesday, is that you could even see the Panthers getting the 2nd seed if things fall out right.
Well, and Scott, we've talked about the offense, we've talked about the defense. I think the special teams has created some big plays here. The kickoff that just dies right at the 1-yard line, forces them back to start at their own 6. the almost block punt that sets them up at the 40-yard line.
Right.
The field position game has definitely been in Navarro's favor.
That's right.
They have covered the kickoffs very well. There's some speed back there. You got to hold your breath, but they've had a lot of guys flying down there to the ball.
Yeah, and I think that they've shown confidence by not just pooching it. They haven't shown
Right.
that they're afraid of those
Right.
guys.
Well,
they've kicked it to them. They let them return it.
they kick it deep, and and the coverage team is right there to make it happen. So, awesome stuff. So, Scott, again, tell the people where they can find you and get your information.
SeguinGazette.com. We'll be in there Sunday and Wednesday.
Okay, well, we'll take a little break as well, and we'll be right back as we'll have some bands, and we'll go over volleyball bios of a couple of volleyball players, and we'll be back. Thanks again, Scott. All right, welcome back. We're here in Geronimo, Texas, where the Panthers lead 28-7. And I'll be going over some volleyball bios. We're going to start off with Hannah Durrett. And thanks to Joel Frederick and Jim Andrews for putting these bios together. We have Hannah Durrett. She's a sophomore, and those are some of they may not be all up to date, but we did have the volleyball team win over Fredericksburg, so they went to 2-2 in district. And Hannah Durrett, she plays the setter on that team. They nickname her JoJo. She wears number 12, and her favorite athlete is Virgin Riley, and her favorite home cooked meal is fettuccine Alfredo. And then, what is your favorite spirit animal? Is a capybara, and then you have the fast food is Cane's. We've seen that quite a bit. But after high school, she wants to go to Tarleton State University, a good place. And she says a lot of times her saying is that you are your biggest competition. And so that is true to most. And then her favorite motivational quote is that I've failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I have been successful. That's a quote from Michael Jordan. And then some of the things that are unique about her, I've been playing volleyball since I was 9. I am the youngest child of 3, and I'm missing an organ. So very, very cool stuff there. So now we'll go to one of our other bios that we have here. And we'll go to our next volleyball player. Amira Harris is who we have as well. Amira Harris, I'm going to have to make sure to pull up her bio. And her Miss Amira they call her MI, and for her nickname, and she wears number 11. She's a right side hitter. From what I have, her opposite hitter as well. And her favorite athlete is Sydney McLaughlin. Our favorite home-cooked meal is gumbo. I like that gumbo myself a lot. And then, so what is your spirit animal? Is a flying squirrel. That is so cool. And then some of the the fast food she has here: Whataburger and Hawaiian Bros and Chipotle. So she lists them all. McDonald's, I'll tell you. And then she wants to get her bachelor's and get into nursing after high school and become a nurse
Please
practitioner.
welcome to the field
That's
your
awesome.
Navarro High
And
School
then her favorite
Dazzlers
saying
and your
is "Girl,
Navarro Junior
oh,"
High
and a
Stargazers
favorite
dance
motivational
teams.
quote is, "We cannot solve problems
The Dazzlers
with
are under the
the
direction of
same."
Michelle Conaway, and the Stargazers are under the direction
I'm
of
trying
Belle
to
Lara.
thinking we use
Dazzler
to employ
officers are
them.
Varsity
So
Second
very
Lieutenant Maya
interesting, very
Robertson.
interesting. and I
Varsity
have.
First Lieutenant Harley Bodie.
She said she has.
And
I'm trying to
Varsity
read
Captain
that
Taylor
one
Brandon.
last word. If it is
Our
for
JV First
funny
Lieutenant
things that
is
are
Jocelyn
unique about her,
Villanueva.
is I have a good barn.
And our JV
I
Captain is
hate
Callie Traeger.
art with a passion.
Stargazer
Art
officers
class,
are
that
Second
is.
Lieutenant Emery
And
Blue.
I'm an only girl
First
in her
Lieutenant Peyton
family.
Ryerson.
So, oh, she has a
Captain
good
Brianna
bark.
Holmes.
That's what it is. So, anyways, that's Amara
Our
Harris.
varsity dazzler
She's
of
a
the week is
junior,
Elena
and
Perez.
we thank her for
JV
getting the
dazzler of the
information
week is
to us
Callie
and
Traeger.
all. So, well,
And Stargazer of the week is Timberland
we'll be
T.
back here in just a moment as we bring you the mighty
Tonight's performance will be
Fighting
a Palmer
Panther
team
band,
to Dua Lipa's
the
Houdini.
greatest
We
band
hope
in the
you enjoy
land.
the show.
We'll be right back. Okay, this is Hank Dieter, and I'm joined with Jason. It's Orts, right?
Orts, yeah.
Orts. I was trying to make sure I get it right. And I'm going to show you a little bit of illustration if we have that up on the screen yet. And so we're going to show you on this play that Kenway is on. And Kenway's been able to make some plays here in this game so far. And I want to show you a little bit what happens, because you'll see a block that goes down and inside by Cade Pugh, number 52, and then you'll see another block that's kicked out here. So we'll go a little bit here as we go forward. We pause it right here. Now I'm going to clear that out, and we should see it. You'll see a block develop right in here, and then you'll see this block develop out here, and you'll see Kenway make it through. So we'll continue that play as he goes through and he makes that big play. And that's what the Panthers blocking have been able to do. Jason, you were able to see that there on the monitor, correct? Mm-hmm. And so we've seen that. We'll go to the next clip, and we'll be able to see the big plays that the Panthers are able to make here as well. as they go to the, been able to make it on defense. And you'll see that on the defensive side. We want to make sure that that's a big point too, that the Panthers have been able to do here. And you'll see their defense is able to make big plays and be able to create fumbles on there. So I don't know if we're able to see it, but we'll jog back a little bit on that one, and we can see the play as the ball develops. And I'm not doing a great job of this, Jason. It's really hard to see because when we have the players come in, and you'll see down here, you'll see one player, what they call submarine, and he's able to get underneath that causes the line to back up all in here, and you'll watch that as that develops here, and we'll see it right here. So you'll see it develop right there as it backs everything up. The players can come in behind, make the play, and the ball is recovered by the Panthers on that play. So just to show something different that we haven't had the chance, so we can go back to our live action on the band for the Panthers out there. But that was something a little bit different that we've had, and we thought it would be something neat to bring to the fans to see something different as the plays develop, because we're able to show the old clicker, like the coach clicker, going back and forth. So I thought that would be cool for some of the people to see. But the Panthers leading here 28-7. We're going to go ahead and take another little break and let the Panther band entertain you for a little while. So we'll be right back after this.
Gabrielle Sassenhagen and Bryce Percher. Please sit back and enjoy the show.
All right, this is Hank Dietert. We're here in Geronimo, Texas. I'm being joined by Jason Orch, and then also now Jordan Cummings. She is joining us as a student with the Broadcast Club. She's helping out right now with some of the tech stuff, bringing you the somewhat of the telestrator that we're running for the first time. And so now, Jordan, where do you hail from? Where do you come from?
I come from Oregon State.
Oh, wow.
Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. Okay. So, and I was told that you had played football in 3rd grade. Is that right?
Yes.
So you know a little bit about football. And you were now you were the only girl on your team, is what I heard.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And so, did you have a good experience though with football, or was it kind of
so
3rd grade? I know
it's
you're pretty
3rd grade,
young. Yeah.
But yeah, it started out a little rough being the only girl on a team full of boys, but I showed them how it was done. I grew up in a football family, and so it was kind of fun to go out there and actually be the one playing instead of watching for a bit. But I think it's funner to be behind the scenes and stuff.
Wow. So now, being in the Broadcast Club at Navarro and doing some different things. And so what has been your experience thus far?
So I've done cameras and replays and stuff, and I've been all around the board. But I think the best part about being in the Broadcasting Club is getting to work some of the computer stuff like replays and graphics.
Right.
And getting that entertainment and stuff.
And right now, if you could see us, we have just a whole bunch of wires going everywhere, monitors everywhere, and then the same thing in our production trailer. If we can we? Well, we'll wait. The band is out there now, and they're putting on a good show. So, but we will show you the inside of the trailer too. That Jordan has been working, and she's been up here working what we're trying to do with the telestrator tonight, and try to get accommodated with that, because we're trying to bring different things. And when you do productions though like this, I mean, you said you like learning about the computers and the tech side of things too. So what do you do outside of this though? What do you do for fun and things like that? Is there
Yeah. So for fun nowadays, it's mainly just like reading, and I do theater with the Navarro High School.
Okay.
We're doing the Three Musketeers, and I'm in costumes for that.
Awesome.
So there's that. Other than that, I cook, I bake.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah,
those you don't hear of much these days, right, Jason?
Could have used some of that up here tonight.
Right. And for all of us, I mean, exactly. So, well, Jordan, and also we know that, for the students here at the Broadcast Club, we have a QR code that's up there. And we're asking you to take and scan that QR code and donate whatever you can. So you can donate, $5, $10. Just think, you don't have to be in the crowded stands. You don't have to go find parking. You get to sit in your own living room and watch this. So, but when we go on away games, they have to be fed. Even at home, they have to be fed. But also with the equipment that we plan to get in the future, we need donations for that. But it helps you, right, to be able to be ready. Like if you went to college, you might be able to work with an ESPN Plus team or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, well, thank you, Jordan, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And hopefully, if there's anybody else out there that wants to join the Broadcast Club, they're welcome to do it as well, and get a hold of Miss Casey or Mr. Scarborough, the principal at the high school. So glad to have you, Jordan. Again, thank you very much for what you're doing.
Of course.
All right, Jason. So I have a couple of scorer updates here that I was looking at in the district. Wimberley at halftime is now up 42-0 over Salado. I mean, I knew it would be, kind of high-scoring affair for Wimberley, but I didn't think at halftime they'd already have 42 points on Salado that the Panthers barely lost to last week.
Yeah, definitely showing that they are the team to beat in this district for sure.
Yeah, and then Lago Vista, which is no surprise, is over Gonzales at halftime, 26-7. And so, with that, Seguin now is behind. Seguin is behind 49-12 over the, under the San Antonio Piper Warriors, and they come in state ranked, from what I understand, with Piper. So a very tough, a tough district that Seguin's in this year too. Yeah. So, but Seguin was coming into that undefeated, what I understand. So now the Now, some updates I wanted to give on Navarro with their tennis team. We had Lance Blackburn gives me all these updates, and he told me about tennis won the by-district playoffs over Crystal City 10-2, and they had played also this week and lost in the area round to Little River Academy.
Okay.
They're always good at football and stuff. And volleyball won tonight over Bandera, so the Panthers are moving right along. Here's the game is just starting. The Panthers get the ball at good field position as Jarrell tries to do the onside kick. So now we're right back at it. So
yeah, once again, great field position for the Panthers. I mean, not a desperation move necessarily there from Jarrell, but trying to make something happen, come out of halftime, and try to change the momentum right away.
Right.
It was a risk worth taking, but Navarro was heads up and got the play done there. And once again, great field position.
Yeah, first down and 10 at the start of the third quarter at the 49-yard line of Jarrell. You couldn't get much better than that. So now the Panthers go right up to the offside on the right side. A little off tackle is what I meant to say, and the Panthers gain 6. They gained 6 yards. Cohen Blunt, give them credit for that.
Well, and the best thing about the Panthers, or for the Panthers right now, is the fact that they have, with a 28-7 lead, they have the ability to just continue to run their offense exactly the way that they want to. Jarrell is going to have to get out of their comfort zone here. They're probably going to have to throw some deep balls. They're going to have to try to do something to make something happen to cut into this lead.
Oh, yeah. And now Panthers just have to play mistake-free football on this 2nd down and 4 coming up here. And here's that play with Conway. Conway's got a little bit of room, but there's a flag thrown down, and it comes from the umpire. Usually it's something like holding, but you never know in this game. We've seen a face mask called on the inside as well.
Yeah, and we haven't talked much about it, but, Scott Kibbe brought it up at halftime. No penalties for the Panthers in the first half. And if not a lot of them for Jarrell either, but the ones that Jarrell had were big. The big face mask penalty that set them back behind the chains, and one that set up a 4th and 13. They did convert that, but it was a big penalty.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be a legal block below the waist, and now the Panthers are going to be pushed back. We jinxed them, right?
We just talked about it, yeah.
We just talked about no penalties, and that penalty really hurts the Panthers right now. So Panthers now have a long 2nd down and 15 coming up. But, that play they've been running to Conway has been probably, the best looking play we've seen, tonight.
And there it is again.
Yep, there it is again. Conway didn't get much on that one, if any, maybe a half yard. And but Jarrell was ready for that. So you hope the Panthers have some way of saying, hey, it looks like we're going to run this play again, but we're actually going to run something different.
Yeah, some kind of counter off of that. The adjustment to the adjustment as the game continues to unfold here.
Right. 3rd down and 14 for the Panthers. They need to, make a big play here. Even if you can get down close to the 40-yard line and you don't make the first down, you're still in a position to go for it on 4th down. So you've got to get inside the 45 on this play in order to think about going for it on 4th down. Helford under center and Trotty in motion, and they pitch it out to Trotty. He gets that one block but couldn't quite hold on that block, and good play by the defensive Jarrell as Trotty was brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was. But the most important thing for the Panthers there was don't do anything dumb. Don't turn the ball over. If you have to punt the ball and let your defense continue to play, get back on the field and try to continue to play the way that they did in the 2nd quarter, that's okay. Especially if they can get a good punt here, maybe set them back.
So now the Panthers are set to punt. It looks like Helford is back to receive the punt. And, to take and make the punt. Let's see, back is Hobbs, I believe. Back as a returner, but it's a short punt, and it goes only to the 23-yard line, and it'll be spotted there at the 23, and that's where Jarrell will start their possession in this 3rd quarter, their first possession of this 3rd.
Yeah, and not exactly backed up here at the 23, but it's not great field position either. They really haven't had much field position to work with all night. Navarro's done a great job in that aspect. But, we'll see exactly what Jarrell can come up with here after a long halftime. I'm sure plenty of adjustments have been made. We'll see what they can do to try to figure out what to do with this Navarro front that has just been great about getting in the gaps and getting penetration.
So now looks like Hobbs gets a little bit of room, and he's able to get about 5 yards on the play, so it'll bring up a 2nd and 5 for Jarrell.
Once again, we talked about those 5-yard runs early in the game look so damaging.
Well, they gave him 6 now. After the spot,
When you're up 28-7, a 6-yard run in the middle of the field that keeps that clock rolling isn't nearly as damaging as it was early in the game.
That's right. So if Panthers can play a bend but don't break, as Livesey hands the ball off inside, and the Panthers are right there to slow him down, but not after a gain of about 2 to 3 yards. So that'd be 3-yard gain, and it'll be a 3rd down and 1 coming up here. If you're a good slot T team, the 3rd and 1s are nothing, right?
Yeah.
But now the Panthers have been able to slip in and make some TFLs here. So.
Yeah, and those 3rd and 1s, when you've got backs like Navarro does with Blunt and Hobbs for Jarrell, just give the ball to him, let him go get that 1 yard and reset.
And, wow. The scrum has started, and it's enough for a 1st down plus another yard. So 2 yards, 3 yards actually on that carry, as Livesey was able to do it on a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, they went with a quarterback sneak there, and it looked like the center might have raised up a little bit too soon on that one.
But it's hard to tell when they're snapping the ball. Yeah,
it really is. But but a good job of Jarrell of just not overthinking it, going and getting the 1st down and getting it started again. But, as we've talked about, that clock is already under 8 minutes now in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, so now we got 1st down and 10. Livesey is under center, hands it off to the up back, and right there looked like Blunt was the first one in the backfield, and then the rest of the Panthers defensive line and linebackers come in after only a 2-yard gain, 2nd and 8.
Just another little handoff right in the middle of the field. Nothing fancy about it. It keeps the ball moving forward. It's again, like you talked about, the bend but don't break. You can allow yardage all the way down the field, but as long as that clock is rolling, you're doing what you need to do right now.
Right, especially being up 3 touchdowns is huge. Now, a wide out comes out here for Jarrell, as they're stacked to the right, and they go to the right, as Hobbs takes the pitch off to the right, and he gets about 8 yards on the play, exactly enough for the 1st down. It looks like they're stopping the clock and waving on for Hobbs on that 1st down carry.
Stop by 65, Luke Vogel.
So Vogel in on that stop, as the Panthers, like I said, not allowing the big plays that we saw last week with Laga Vista, the 75-yarder, 74-yarder, 40 yards, for Hobbs. And Panthers are able to initiate contact at least at the line of scrimmage in most cases, or behind the line.
And really, they've done a great job of cleaning up the tackling since that 1st drive as well.
So Livesey under center, hands it off. This time to one of the halfback, I believe it was, number 22, Braden Morlock, who gets it, and he gets about 3 yards on the play.
22, Braden Morlock on the carry.
So Panthers.
Tackled by number 8, Cohen Blunt.
Panthers defense, again, playing solid defense, but along the way, you got to hope for either a mistake by. We've seen 3 turnovers, 4 fumbles, and 3 of them were lost in that 1st half.
Yeah, and the question is at this point, how long can Jarrell stay with this style of offense and just try to pick up a few yards at a time, trying to continue to pick up 1st downs? I think if they get to the 4th quarter, maybe in a 2-score game, they can stay with a little bit longer, but eventually they're going to have to start trying to get some chunks.
So now Cougars handed it to the up back, to the fullback. It looks like Hobbs again, and Hobbs gets about 3.5 yards. He's just tripped up at the line, and he had a hole. It looks like somebody's leg got in the way, and if he didn't trip up, he would have had a bigger gain.
Yeah, he definitely had a hole on that one, but it filled pretty quick, and, like you said, somebody tripped him up there, but again, a good job of falling forward to get some positive yardage from Hobbs.
So 3rd down and 4 coming up here for the Cougars. And there's a timeout being called by Jarrell, and Jarrell's head coach, Alan Hare, calls that timeout. And, we also I wanted to talk a little bit about, again, the broadcast club, and we had Jordan speak earlier right before the kickoff and all. And there's that QR code we keep down on the bottom right. And we want you to go there, and it'll take you to a PayPal account, and you can go and make a donation there. And it's really important to do that, I think, for these kids out here that are trying to do something a little different. You don't, now with streaming football games and things, right. Now there's things that can be done, and we see it with ESPN Plus all over the place. And there's money be had for these students even while they're going to college.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and it was so funny. I think when we were growing up, it was how many games you didn't have that many games on.
Right.
You just had to try to find the best games of the week, and now you look at all the way down to some Division II and Division III games, or even on TV sometimes. So, there are a lot of opportunities out there. High school football now being allowed to be broadcast on Friday nights, that was a no-no for a long time. So there are a lot of positive developments in the broadcast world.
So 3rd and 4 coming up here for Jarrell. I formation basically. Pitch back to Hobbs. Hobbs has enough for the first down as he takes and runs over a couple of the Panthers. Panthers defense, though, I have to say, they and the coaches for the defense have been rotating quite a bit of player personnel trying to keep them fresh.
Yeah, and you see what Hobbs can do when he gets a full head of steam there, and is able to just lower the shoulder and pick up those few extra yards. It's a lot easier to get him down when he doesn't have that momentum built up over 5 or 6 yards.
Right. So Panthers up here 28-7. Nobody scored thus far in the third quarter with the 4:41 remaining. And Panthers now looking on defense. They hand it off the inside trap there to the tailback. And that tailback was the number 2, Nico Rodriguez, on the carry. And he only gains about a yard on that play. So brings up 2nd down and 9. Ball's going to be spotted at the 41-yard line. So Jarrell, 1 or 2 yards is not going to, with this clock, they could take the whole quarter, and that would actually be helpful for the Panthers.
Yeah, Colton Brighton camp there. We've mentioned it a few times, but they've tried a little bit of that misdirection, that inside handoff. That can be such a punishing play for a slot T team when teams are looking for something completely different. But Navarro's done a great job of staying home.
So now the Panthers have come in and made a stop on Hobbs after he gains about 3 yards. So it's still going to be a 3rd and semi-long with a 3rd down and 6 coming up here for Jarrell.
Are you surprised a little bit that Jarrell hasn't put the ball in the
air?
Yeah,
I am.
3 for 3 for 26 yards. It's not big yardage, but they hit all 3 of the passes that they had in the first half.
Right, and most of those have been rollouts and a little waggle play to either the trailing tailback coming across. And we see that, a lot with fullbacks, but we're seeing that also with tailback. But we did see it with Hobbs as well. So I would imagine that's what we're going to see now. Nope. As to the outside, and that's a big run as he gains 7 to 8 yards on the play. That's number 11, JT Travis, making the first down for the Jarrell Cougars and gets it inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, this drive looking a lot like that first drive of the game. But, again, for Navarro, that's okay because it's killing the time. It's killing the clock. It's they're not allowing the big play. There's still 29 yards to go.
Yeah.
If they want to score on this drive. And if they're getting it 4 and 5 at a time, that's 7 or 8 plays. That's probably going to kill the quarter.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, my goodness, that the Jarrell, needs to probably get the scores and get them a little quicker.
Right.
Now they go with a wide receiver, number 17, Elijah Jones. And this looked to be going to the air, and it is. And it is caught by number 22, Braden Morlock, as he goes down the field and he gets out of bounds, and he's got a first down at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, and a great job of keeping that from being an absolute disaster there by the quarterback.
Yes.
He kind of bobbled that one coming out, but was able to hold on to it and get out on the edge. He was actually hit as he was bobbling the ball as well by a Navarro defender that penetrated immediately. But, another nice pass, and we've seen that some from Joe tonight. I am surprised that they haven't gone to it more often.
Yeah, now Livesey did a good job on that play as Blunt was all over him. Now Livesey comes under center, hands it off to number 22. He gets off to that left side of the offense and gains only a couple of yards on the play.
Ball carrier stopped by 22.
Yeah,
Brandon
now
Delaney.
at this point, I believe it's going to be all or nothing for Jarrell. This is definitely 4-down territory the rest of the way. So Navarro, has allowed the bent. They have bent now.
Right,
Now it's time to not break.
Yeah, you cannot break. You got to be able to stop them. 2nd down and 9 here with the Panthers, defense. If they can make a big stop here, keep them behind the chains, it would be a great deal for the Panthers. So now Hobbs tries to go to the right side, and he is brought down by Mason Harvey of the Panthers.
Yeah, Harvey taking a little bit for a ride on that one,
Yeah.
but able to make the stop there. And like we've talked about, get him in 3rd and medium, 3rd and long situation.
Yeah, so now the Panthers have on defense have a chore here because we know it's 4-down territory, so it's 3rd down and 5 coming up, and the ball is going to be spotted right at the 10-yard line. So see what Jarrell has in store for the Panthers.
They've got 7 lined up across the line right now for the Panthers, and I wouldn't be surprised to see every one of them bring it.
So now we go into a shift where 2 wideouts there. There is nobody in the backfield, as it looks like they were trying to draw the Panthers off sides and called a timeout by, I believe that was by the Panthers on that play.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't a good time out there, too, because if they did snap that ball, they had 2 wide receivers out left on that one and only one defender for the Panthers. So they were outnumbered out there, and that could have been an easy touchdown if they did not call that timeout.
Yeah, we might be able to see it here on our telestrator if we go back to that point in time. See if we can get there. Well, we'll try.
But, we've talked about, the plays themselves making it difficult for a slot T team to come back without getting out of its character.
Right.
But it's really the entire operation because every play comes off the sideline.
Right.
Somebody brings the play in from the sideline, so that takes time. Then you got to get to the line of scrimmage and get set up. That takes time. Usually they snap it pretty quick once they do get set up, but the entire operation takes so much time that it makes it that much more difficult to come back.
Okay, now we're getting ready for the Panthers on defense, and you're right, Jason. It's a chess game at this point too. What are the Panthers going to do on defense to adjust to what Jarrell's doing? So right. 32 is out. It's Peralta as they go off to the left side. Looks like it's going to be short. All the first down is going to bring up a 4th down and 3 here for Jarrell.
Yeah, and that was a case there where JT Travis looked like he did have that immediate lane if he took it up. Tried to take it a little bit too far outside and got shut down on that one. So now will they get another play in before the quarter ends? Yeah, and
we talked about it before, the slot T is generally, you see the coaches cut it up. I heard it, as my son was playing and both of my sons that played, you would hear that, by the coaches out on the field, and you hear it now. Now that's the end of the 3rd quarter. Nobody scores in that one. They just push the ball back and forth. Yeah. A little rubber match there in that 3rd quarter, and now you have it 28-7 going into the 4th quarter. So we'll take a little break. We'll run a little commercial from the one of the Navarro organizations, and we'll be right back. Okay, I guess we're back, and we're at a big 4th down play coming up here, and if you were going to try to say pull out all the stops here, for Jarrell, because they're in dire straits right now, and going in that 4th quarter down by three scores, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. Do you do anything like do you actually play action on 4th down, or do you go to
I
Hobbs on that
do.
toss play? Or
I go with the play action because I think that Jamari Lipsey, if he can get outside, he's got that run pass option.
Yeah.
If somebody's open in the flat, you dump it off to him. If not, you try to cut it up and get the first down. You know,
Right.
I think you open up a lot of options with that play.
Well, and you see a lot of times with the slot T teams, you see they'll flood a zone. They'll flood 3 receivers all running an out route,
Yeah.
or all receivers running a drag route or a bench route, and you see them all within 5 yards of each other, and they're trying to flood a zone, and that's what you see on that rollout
And
a
the
lot
ball
of times.
is on the left hash too, so that helps them if they want to do that.
All right, so there it is. The ball's loose. The Panthers got it. Yes, they do. Panthers come out with the turnover on a 4th down and 3 play. Blunt was the big one in on that play. Here's the replay right here. As you see, look, Blunt was in the play before the ball was even really tucked away by the quarterback.
Yeah, Blunt just blows that one up, and Xander Barnes makes the
Yeah.
recovery. You know, the funny thing about that one is it's a smart play by Barnes to just jump on it. But I think if Blunt would have been able to pick it up, he had smooth sailing to the
Yeah.
end zone there. But, you know, you can't fault the effort there by Barnes in making the play and diving on that ball.
Got to play a little happy dance here.
And a disastrous play for Jarrell. Not only
Yeah.
the turnover on downs, but they wasted so much time now.
Now Blunt's got a little bit of energy as he just moves the pile. We got to play that one, and he just gets ahead of steam there and just keeps it going. Got the steam locomotive in the background. But so 2nd down and 9.
2nd and 1.
Yeah, 2nd and 1 now.
2nd and
after a
1, I meant
9-yard
to say.
gain. And, you know, this is exactly where Navarro wants to be, obviously, with the ball, with the lead, with a slot T offense that is known for taking time off the clock.
So Blunt, again, he's been the hoss tonight, and he gets about 5 yards on that carry. So it'll bring up a 1st down for the Panthers at the 34-yard line of their own 34.
And what the other thing that Colorado Conway did, obviously, he had a great first half, over 100 yards rushing, but he took some of the, left some of the tread on Blunt's tire as well. So now, he's fresher than he probably has been in several of these games where he's had to carry more of the load.
Right. Well, now you can ride that hoss right now all the way down the field if you want to, but you've got to also mix it in. And we've seen Trotty had a couple of good runs. And speaking of that, Trotty gets it off to the left side. He breaks one tackle, breaks another tackle. He's inside territory of the Cougars as he's down all the way down to the 47-yard line. Let's see. Yep, they spot him at the 47. Big play there as the replay shows. Great blocking downfield. Even Lane Black being up there in the
Black
front.
was up there basically holding him up as he's being tackled, getting about 10 or 15 or about 5 or 10 more yards at the end of that play. But once again, a big 1st down for Navarro. Every 1st down that the Panthers get right now is another 2 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, so the Panthers now come up to the line of scrimmage, hand the ball off. This time it looks to be another fresh running back, fresh set of legs. Let's see. I think that's Corbin Benish who gets 3 yards on that carry. And what I like to see that we hadn't seen as much, and I talked about it in my keys, was that we wanted to see him be physically and mentally tough. And I think we've seen that from the Panthers tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would have been easy to fold. I know it's early in the game, but when you allow a drive like Jarrell had to start, that's demoralizing.
Right.
But they didn't sulk. They got the ball, took it right down the field, tied it up, and really they've just taken over from there. And
now Trotty again, he tries to go inside out and couldn't quite make the corner as good defense by Nico Rodriguez, the senior for the Jarrell Cougars, but still a gain of a couple of yards. You're still, a little bit behind the chains, but this is very makeable as we look at a 3rd and long 5.
Yeah, and at this point of the field, you're kind of in that no man's land. You're not going to punt the ball from here. You're probably going to go for it, unless there's some kind of disaster here on 3rd down.
Right, so now the Panthers take the ball at the 42-yard line, and Blunt just goes ahead and just takes that 1st down from everybody. Said, that's my 1st down, and I'm getting 12 yards on the carry or so. And now first down and 10 with the ball spotted at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, and the clock's going to roll under 9 minutes. And don't forget that Jarrell had to take a timeout in the third quarter as well, so they only have 2 left for the rest of this game. So the Panthers are really in a great spot, and really, like you talked about, they're starting to mix in some different guys as well and get them some run as well.
Right. So now, yeah, you get some fresh legs in there. So now here we have the Panthers. Helford under center, and again to Blunt. Blunt has to just hold on to the ball is really the key as he gets about 3 yards on that carry. Now we'll give him 2 as he gets it down to the 31-yard line from the 33.
I can't say enough about the job that the left side of this offensive line has done all night. All of Colorado Conway's big runs came on the left side. Haven't really seen too much from him in the second half. I hope he's okay.
Right.
But, Blunt's mostly done his damage straight up the middle and off left guard. It's been a big night for that side of the line.
Well, Conway always plays that cornerback position as well, so they could be giving him a breather. There he is out there, but they fake it to him as there's the little wrinkle, and Helford keeps it, and he gets about 4 yards on the carry. He's going to take it down to the 26-yard line. So good wrinkle to that play, faking it to Kenway, and then taking it off to the right side.
Well, and we've talked about it. At this point, it looks like Navarro's going to win this game. Obviously, I don't want to jinx that, but
I remember last time you talked about it. They had no penalties, and then you talked about penalty, and we get a penalty.
This is such a confidence builder for them if they are able to finish this one the right way and move on into a part of the schedule that we've talked about that the first 2 games that they played were definitely against the best 2 teams in the district.
And now Blunt goes way off to the right side, off tackle. You better watch it. He chicken winging it a little bit on that one, but still gets the first down and tries to stay inbounds. But they stop the clock to reset it on the chains for the first down. And the ball's inside the red zone, so we have a red zone opportunity here for the Panthers as they are taking their time and watching that play clock as well.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head right there. Just the biggest thing there, staying in bounds, getting the first down, but staying in bounds, not allowing that clock to stop for longer than the set of the chains.
Yeah, the Panthers defense, comes up big, and now the offense is doing exactly what they need to do by driving the ball down the field. And, first and 10, here inside the 20, right at the 18-yard line. Panthers have a great opportunity to get another first down before they have to go first and goal and drain that clock. Here's Kenway. Now he's off to the left side. He gets a good surge by that left side as the guard, Lane Black, comes around and pulls on that play and makes a good block as well. And so Kenway gets a total of about 7 yards on that play, so second down and 3 coming up.
Well, what's crazy about this second half, and it was similar in the first half, at least for the first drive.
Yeah.
But we've had 18 minutes of play here in the second half. And this is only the 3rd offensive possession.
Yeah.
Jarrell's only had the ball once here in the second half.
So, and it's really shortened the game for both teams.
Right.
But for Jordan being behind by 3 scores, those turnovers really hurt him. And now trying to come back on that, you had to play a little bit more hurry up, knowing that the Panthers could drive it on you. And now here's Blunt off to the right side. It looks like he was going to take it to the outside, but he gets cut down. And it looks like by number 23, Hayden Dotson, the senior, comes in and just takes Blunt's legs out.
Yeah, and that was an awkward fall. I'm glad he's getting up and he's okay.
Yeah, as he rolls around, you're thinking that if he gets that leg caught up underneath there, that could be trouble. But he's able to get out of it and comes unscathed. So now third down and almost 2. We'll say third and 2. So does the PA announcer. Steve Schieneman agrees with me. So now Helford under center. And he hands it looks like he was going to hand the ball off, but it's a follow by the quarterback as he follows his fullback and fakes it to him. And he goes right behind Big Blunt and gets the first down for the Panthers. Now that's the first down and goal coming up here just inside the 5.
Yeah, and they went on an offset line on that one. They overloaded that right side and just got behind him and picked up what he needed for the first down and kept this thing moving as we move under 5 minutes to go here in the game.
Yeah, no mistakes here. The Panthers need to just take it down, and they don't. The play clock's not working here either. We had that problem with Salado last week. Now we have the play clock's not working as well here at Navarro, and so they have to call it on the field, and you have to have the coaches going, okay, you got to tell me the time. And so Benish goes off the left side, but he's met right at the line of scrimmage. Benish comes in for a bunt, and as the fullback, kind of more of a scat back type as a fullback, but still a strong runner. So but he gets met right at the line of scrimmage. Good job by the defense.
And this is where some kind of counter could be really effective for the Panthers, because Jarrell's going to send everybody they can to the point of attack. So if they can come up with some kind of misdirection, they might be able to find some room, might be able to find some wide open space really in that Jarrell defense.
Right. So we will announce the player of the game after the game is over. So we'll have to start thinking about that right now as well. So a handoff right up the gut, and a hard running by Benish. He's all the way down inside the 3. I think they're going to spot him right close to the 3. So we'll see how that turns out with now a 3rd and goal coming up here for the Panthers.
Yeah, offset line once again, and ran that one straight up the middle. And one thing I do want to commend both teams for so far is that there hasn't been any kind of frustration there. It doesn't seem like there's been a whole lot of talking and any kind of anybody losing their head down.
Right. For both teams.
No personal fouls, no unnecessary roughness, none of that kind of stuff.
So now Panthers 3rd and goal. The ball spotted close to the 3-yard line. And now the Panthers go and hand it off to Trotty. Trotty looks to be in the end zone, and that's the call. The Panthers score and takes this to a 4-score game. So now the Panthers up 30, pending extra point. They're at 34 right now, 7, waiting for that extra point. So now, wait, we have some discussion. I was all excited, and now we have some discussion there. It looked like he was into me. I don't know if we have that replay still. They're saying stop short. Now it's going to be 4th and goal from the 1, but
not the worst thing for Navarro. They can run 40 more seconds off the clock here. But,
yeah, that's exactly right. And if they can get in the end zone, like you said, it's not a bad deal, because if we didn't make it, so got all excited there, man, and then next thing you know, it's no score. Here it is, as Helford's under center motion, and this time it looks to be Trotty going in. So I'm pretty sure he's in on that one.
Yeah, he's about 5 yards in on that one. I think you can put that one on the board. But, I've talked so much about the left side of the offensive line. On that drive, it was mostly done on the right side and straight up the middle. So, great job by the entire line. All of them getting their chance to shine tonight.
So that is a touchdown for the Panthers. Takes it 34-7 now, pending the extra point. See if we can get it up by a total of 4 scores. So. And there's the ball's up, and it looks to be good by Soto as he makes it. We'll give him a, 35-7 now should be the score, I believe. And hopefully, the officials, I've done that before too. It's like you say, and then something, no, it was actually no good. Like, what? Yeah, I saw it go right through, or at least I thought I did, but it, so. Now, like I said, we'll have to think about player of the game. And personally, I'd like to give it to the whole offensive line, but
it would be hard not to tonight with the way that they've performed. I mean, just everything that they have tried has worked, and that can only happen if the offensive line is doing their job, especially in this type of offense.
Right.
And, I had talked about no penalties. I believe they've had 1 now. It's just been such a clean game by the Panthers all the way through. And, they haven't put the ball in the air 1 time. It's been all done on the ground. So, I mean, that offensive line has it's been really impressive tonight.
Well, if you hadn't heard, the volleyball team tonight has won as well. And so, volleyball is doing, so volleyball is doing great this season. They look to come back, and they are now, I think, 3-2 in district play. So they won over Bandera tonight. So now the kick is up, and the ball hits at the 20. It is then gathered in by number 1, and that's going to be Jacob Crathers. It gets it right at the 21. And so now Jarrell has a long haul here as they're down 35-7. I think the Panthers showed their true colors tonight that we've been looking for most of the season against a really good, actually a really good Jarrell team.
Well, and you know, all three phases of the game. Obviously, they got hit in the mouth to start the game defensively, and they responded since then. They have not allowed another score. You know, forced 4 fumbles, 5 fumbles actually, recovered 4 of them. So, I mean, it's been a clean game. And then I talked about special teams some as well. You know, even that last play was a good example of it. It was a kick that checked up. Jarrell couldn't do anything with it. They just had to fall on it.
So now Jarrell looked back to pass as Lansley tries to get it out to Nico Rodriguez, and that ball goes incomplete to his outstretched arms. And now we have an injured player on the field as Panthers are rotating a lot of different defensive players in at this point at 35-7. So let's see if we've got any updates on any of the other scores. And I'll see if I can pull those up for you. So right now, we have some halftime scores, but trying to get you some updated scores as Panthers injured players coming off the field with a little bit of help. And so score I have here is right now, Salado looks to be down 49-14 in the fourth quarter, just starting the fourth quarter. Gonzalez is down in the third quarter. 26-13 is the score I have right now, and that's in district play. We've seen
that's Lago Vista leading.
Lago Vista, yes. Did I say that wrong? Probably. 26-13. Gonzalez is trailing, is what I meant to say. And Seguin Matadors trailing only 56-31 now, but only 3.5 minutes remaining in that game. So now inside handoff, it looked to be Hobbs on a little quick trap play. And so now defense, now Barry comes in and makes the tackle as we get numerous other players coming in, rotating in, which is good because you get the rest of the players for next week for the Panthers.
Yeah, at this point, it's all about no stupid penalties.
Right.
You know, don't do anything that's going to take away from the good feelings of this win.
Right.
No injuries. Get everybody out of here healthy, and let's move on to next week.
Right. So next week we meet Gonzalez. We'll be there in Gonzalez to play the Apaches. So now Jarrell's Morlock, it looks to be getting the ball on that one as a receiver. And taken down by a host of Panthers.
Number 11, Matthew Villanueva.
And I do think that Jarrell made a mistake by not doing a little bit more of that throughout the course of the game, throwing the ball when they wanted to, not because they have to.
Or play a little bit more hurry up when you know you're down by three touchdowns.
Right.
You've got to be able to hurry it up a little bit because you know possessions are limited here in the slot T. Especially when both teams have slot T. So it looks like we have either a false start or, let's see what type of penalty we have because it's a stoppage of play.
Yeah, it looked like a false
So
start.
false start will go against Jarrell. And so Jarrell will be backed up 5 yards. Going to bring up a first down and 15 here.
Yeah, I don't think that this game really could have gone a whole lot better for Navarro. I think, you know, they had the one possession coming out of halftime where they had to punt, and they did get stopped right at the end of the first half. Other than that, they've punched in every time they've had the ball.
Right, I agree. Panthers did a good job of that tonight. So now, off to the right side, Nico Rodriguez looks to get at least the 5 back and maybe another yard. So a 6-yard gain for Rodriguez as it brings up now a 2nd down and 9 coming up here for the Jarrell Cougars.
Well, and I have a feeling that you'll forgive me for my pregame prediction of this one coming right down to the wire. We didn't get that kind of excitement tonight, but like I said, I believe you'll probably forgive me for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is, we'll have to have you as like, the little rabbit's foot, keep you around. Now, a run right up the middle and see who the ball carrier was. It looked like, again, number 22, Morlock was able to make that carry and get
3rd and 5.
get about 4 yards on that play. Now the hurry-up offense as they go to the left side, and that's Morlock. He's got some room. He's only got one man to beat, and he's going to go the distance. He's going to go 67 yards on that play. And so that's a 67-yard touchdown run by Morlock as he gets to the left side. Panthers were not ready for him to come on that side.
Yeah,
so.
they finally got one to break, but that was something that the Panthers have done so good all night, was containing and not allowing somebody to get the edge. That time they did, but a little too late here.
Right. So the Cougars score on that one. They do the little swinging gate and they come back to the right, and so we. See, they bring the field goal team back on. So we'll bring you some highlights and things like that we'll bring after the game as well. So stay tuned for our post-game show, too. With 25 seconds remaining, I'd only expect the Panthers to try to kneel it down, and but they'll have to take on an onside kick, I'm sure, as Jarrell's not going to go down easy. They're gonna fight to the end, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what high school football is all about, is, like we talked about, just competing and fighting until the end. But, once again, just a great performance all the way around by the Panthers tonight, offensive, defensively, special teams. It's such a confidence booster for them to be able to do that. Reading in Scott Kibbe's preview from last week, or for this game, it seemed like they made some big strides last week. So they came in with a little bit more confidence. And, boy, they showed it tonight.
That's right. So, yeah, we've seen that confidence, and we hope that they can continue that. It looked like the Panthers were definitely ready for the Jarrell Cougars tonight.
It looks like they've got the hands team out there to try to get this onside kick.
So, yeah, the hands team is out. Still have somebody back. I believe that's Corbin. Nope, that's number 2 for the Panthers. And that's Montgomery Elder. That's back there. Woo! This has been one of those games here. They may, that early on, Jarrell takes that first drive, goes all the way, and then now the Panthers, pretty much after that, had dominated after that first drive.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what level of football, there's one statistic that you can always look at first.
The onside is attempted and recovered by the Panthers. That's number 11, Villanueva. That recovered it. So now the Panthers have pretty much all in their hands now. No clock ran off because I know he at least touched it, so 1 second should have ran.
Everybody's favorite play if you're an offensive play caller. Victory.
Right.
Get victory formation.
Yeah.
But what I was saying before the onside kick was there's one stat in every level of football that will tell you more about who won the game than any other, and that's turnovers.
Right. Oh,
in
yeah.
any level of football, turning the ball over is a killer, and Jarrell did it 4 times tonight. Navarro never did. It's the difference in the game.
Yeah. Tonight, turnover battle was won by the Panthers, no doubt, as this is going to be the end of the game, as the clock will count down here, and the Panthers will come out victorious. A big win for the Panthers. 35-14 will be your final tonight, as the Panthers, it looked bleak for some. Some people were like, no way the Panthers could even come close after, what Jarrell did to Lago Vista, And so now the Panthers have redeemed themselves. And, you run the table the rest of the way out, you could get as high as possibly the 2nd seed in district, and that's what they're shooting for. Even 3rd seed's not so bad, so not in today's playoffs. So congratulations to the Panthers as they win it tonight, 35-14. We're going to take a quick break, talk about player of the game, and we'll come back and we'll have some stats from Scott Kibbe as well, and we'll show you a few of the highlights that we've seen as well. So we'll be right back. You're watching Navarro Panther football on the Navarro Panther Network. All right, we're back here in Geronimo, Texas, as the Panthers just defeated the Jarrell Cougars 35-14. Our Navarro Panther Network player of the game, Colorado Kenway, as he came in and made big plays, big explosive plays the Panthers have been needing, breaking tackles at the line of scrimmage, but you know, really the lanes that he had was based on the blocking from the offensive line.
Yeah, great job of blocking on the left side of the offensive line, in particular in the first half. The right side of the offensive line got into the act in the second half, really leading that last drive. So really a great job by the offensive line. But like you said, Colorado Kenway getting behind them, being smart enough to be impatient enough and using those blocks. It's just as important as those blocks being set. And, you know, Kenway over 100 yards in the first half. Really set the Panthers up for success, and like you said, made the big runs when they needed it.
And I think we're trying to get one of the plays here. And so we'll have one of the plays coming up. Jordan's working on that for us. So we'll, okay. So we've
talked so much about the offensive line, but that defensive line as well, adjusting, and the coach is doing a good job of making the adjustments to that Jarrell offense especially after that long first drive that Jarrell had. You know, the Navarro defense started moving around a lot more defensively, caused a lot of confusion. They got a lot more penetration, a lot more guys in the backfield, able to get more than one guy to the football, which allowed them to strip the ball away and make those big plays like we talked about, especially those 4 turnovers that the Panthers were able to force in the game. And again, that was the biggest difference. You know, turnovers are always such a giant factor. But if you don't turn the ball over and you don't have more than a couple of penalties, it's going to be pretty tough to beat you.
Right, you're exactly right. We got a big roar for that. Scott Kibbe's going to be coming on here, and we had I don't know, Scott Kibbe was in the other booth, but we had just named Colorado Kenway as the player of the game because he had those explosive plays, the big plays that the Panthers have been looking for, and so we had named Colorado Kenway as the NPN player of the game. So Scott, you have some stats for us, and we'll go over those stats with you as well. So for the game for rushing for Jarrell, what did you have?
221.
221 yards for the Jarrell Cougars, right?
Yep.
So, and then the Panthers, what did they end up with in rushing?
269.
Wow. And then what did it look like passing for Jarrell?
47 yards.
47 for a slot T team. That's about right? So you would normally see. So, and then for the Panthers, none, right?
0, yes.
Yeah.
Did not attempt to pass all night.
Yeah. So, and the Panthers at 269 total, and then the Jarrell Cougars ended up with, let's see, total.
268.
Wow.
And so much because that last 63-yard run that just
yeah.
such a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And first downs, what did you have for first downs for the Cougars?
Jarrell 15.
Okay.
Navarro 13.
Okay, so luckily it wasn't one on first downs, right? And then turnovers, is that 4 for Jarrell?
Yes.
And none for the Panthers.
None for the Panthers.
Okay, penalty-wise?
5 for Jarrell and 2 for Navarro.
All right.
I said at halftime they didn't have any. They did actually have 1. We're back in.
Okay, so we had that. So, yeah, the score ended up 35-14 is what we show on the scoreboard, and that's what we have on ours as well. So, big things happening. Right there's your stats for the game that hopefully I put them in all right, and there they are for you, Scott. So tell us the specifics. Like, I really kind of want to know how did Kenway do on his rushing. What did he end up with?
Kenway, big night. 12 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Cohen Blunt, 13 carries, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
So Hobbs for Jarrell was with 23 carries, 107 yards, their leading rusher. But honestly, with what he did last week,
this
get 100 to take 23 carries to get to 107 yards. Not a bad job at all by the Panther defense.
Yeah, so that in of itself is a testament to the Panthers defense this week. It's better tackling. We saw much better tackling. Yeah. And so and what else stands out for you for this game tonight as well?
I think a couple things. One, the Panthers have been good about not turning the ball over, and that continued tonight. No turnovers. They're not killing themselves with penalties. We saw so much of that last year. Much better with that. So, that part they've got. They've had it for several games, and it opens up some possibilities when you get some things going, when you get some momentum. But it was just really good to see the Panthers get a lead, play with a lead. They just haven't been in front much this year, and get to really play their style of football instead of trying to come back and make it up in big chunks of yards.
Yeah, and I talked about during the game with the entire operation of the slot T offense, because the play comes off the sideline. You've got to huddle, get the play relayed to everybody, get to the line. So it takes so long to get it started. So when you fall behind, you're already 20, 25 seconds in before you even get to the line. Now, once they get to the line, it snaps pretty quick. Yeah. But, usually you run a lot of plays in the middle of the field. Right. So there's just a lot of clock running when you have this type of offense. And, one thing I was talking about with Hank was, I was surprised that Jarrell didn't start trying to throw the ball a little bit more early, because they had some success doing it.
They did. I mean, 5 out of 6 today. They've got some guys who can make plays downfield if you get the ball to them. But one of the funniest things is, the last 2 weeks, the Panthers this year have had trouble. You're talking about getting those plays in. They've had trouble getting their plays in. They've burned a lot of timeouts, had some delay of game penalties. Last 2 weeks, they haven't had a play clock. And they haven't had any of those. And have to burn any timeouts. So maybe that's a secret. Maybe just don't look at the play clock anymore.
Right, exactly. So, now the Panthers go on to play. We're going to look at playing Gonzales. So next week we'll be in Gonzales, and the Panthers, look to have probably a good shot at beating Gonzales, but you can never, you can never underestimate your opponent. That's for sure. So, what are some of your predictions, Scott, in what you would plan to see for the Panthers against Gonzales?
I just think they've finally got the wind at their backs. We've been wanting to see that all year. They have belief it's going to be a much easier week than the last several have been. And, you just build off that, build off the confidence. They're going to, Gonzales will be licking their wounds after a loss this week. Be an important game to them. Or looks like a loss. They're behind late. It's, a little bit of a rivalry game. We haven't played them in a few years, but these are pretty much just about neighbors. So, you got to come in and play with that confidence. Also know that, maybe some things may not happen for you right away, but in that game, may some things go against you. But you have to keep,
you have to.
You've shown how it's done. You've seen how it can be done, and you can do that again.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible the Panthers could win out here. Here's some of the highlights and some defensive highlights in such of turnovers and some big gains and that sort of thing as the Panthers, make big plays, as you see. And, defense really, like Galini back there in that backfield and stuff. You really like to see that as well. So
Galini's been solid all year. I mean, he's really been the standout on that defense. But I'll tell you, the hitting tonight was so much better.
Right.
So much more physical. And that's what they have to do if they're going to be successful in making kind of a playoff run.
That's right. Well, now I have Wimberley up 56-21 over Salado, and it looks like Lago Vista up 29-13 over Gonzales thus far, and it's just in the fourth quarter. We'll see how that plays out, but I'm pretty sure those teams win. But there is one of the big fumbles, too, on the replay package that they're running right now in the background. So good job by the students. And there is Conway going into the end zone. We just named him as player of the game, too. And another fumble that the defense, I think the defense caused those fumbles in at least 3 of the 4 that we saw where the Panthers recovered. Yeah, that they were in the backfield when those fumbles occurred, and I believe they caused those turnovers. We haven't had that much. I mean, we've seen other teams have turnovers, but usually it's from their own mistakes, not from the Panthers causing a lot of them.
Well, and we talked about it's a whole lot easier to tackle Jason Hobbs when when you're at the line of scrimmage. Right. He's got that head of steam, 6-7 yards, untouched down the field.
Yeah, and I thought they'd run that toss play a bit more where he would get that head of steam, and we didn't see that much at all either. So, but I know we're bouncing around here. So next week we go to Gonzales, and there'll also be, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there's a volleyball game coming up soon that will be aired as well. So we'll see that coming up. So look at the schedules that we have that they post up at the high school, and we'll get those out to everybody when we can. And great job by the students here tonight. The camera work I thought was really well, and the replays and everything. I really appreciate having Jordan as a guest up here as well during halftime, talking about the broadcast club. So you see that QR code, please donate when you can. It'll be up for a little bit, but we take these down on the request of the coaches, not because we want to, but we do that, and there's a reason behind it, believe me. So if you can, please donate. And I want to thank Scott Kibbe again. Thank you for all the information you provide us and our fans, and thank you for being Navarro's historian and statistician for 33 years.
It is my pleasure. I think everything's more fun. So.
Well, and Jason, on last minute notice, like at noon, we're asking you to come down, and Scott Kibbe gets a hold of you, and we thank you for coming in and filling in for Lance. Lance, we do miss you. Don't worry. We want you back as well, but I don't know what we're going to have to find a place for Jason or something, just to be able to make sure our good luck charm is with us.
I was going to say, Jason, I got one question for you. What time do I pick you up next week? We're going to Gonzales.
Going to Gonzales. So, hey, and thanks to all the fans for watching. We've had a lot tune in, and again, Jason, I can't thank you enough for doing this on last minute. So, and thank the students. We'll run the credits, and you'll see the students' names come up, and we really thank them for coming out and getting all this done. So, well, guys, it's time to say goodnight. So I'm going to say goodnight here from Irwin Lee Field in Geronimo, Texas, where you saw the Navarro Panthers take down the Jarrell Cougars with the score of 35-14 in this District 13 4A matchup. And we hope to see you next week in Gonzales. And to everybody, good night and God bless.